Ding. Congratulations to the host for absorbing special ingredients and getting 226 enhancement points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for absorbing special ingredients and getting 260 enhancement points. There are no such delicious seasonings, so the taste is much worse, but it is already very good. Cooking 2 eggs of samoke in a row, Chiya ate it up, and the first dish he cooked in his life was swept away. As if wiped out, he stroked his chin and concluded. It's hard for a clever woman to be without rice reminders. The last cooking was because Menchi added a lot of seasonings, so the cooking will have that effect. As for this time, there were not many precious condiments in the kitchen, just some ordinary condiments, so the cooked eggs were not as delicious as last time, but they were not much different. At least it can be compared with the delicious food in those 5-star hotels when Chiya was carrying out the assassination mission. As for the last one, Chiya didn't cook it together. The last one was left by Chiya to Menchi, who was still unconscious. Although this guy is very tricky, but after all, he went together, Chiya will not eat alone. After Menchi wakes up, Chiya will give her the last egg of samoke. Immediately, Chiya turned his attention to the attribute panel. 3,563 reinforcement points. I used 350 enhancement points to strengthen my cooking ability, and then I ate 2 eggs of samoke to replenish 486 points. Chiya's current enhancement points are 3,563 points. More than 3,000 strengthening points, for the current Chiya, can only be used on the angel ring of Manipulator Nen that has just been opened. As for Conjurer's super speed and trait-type space ability, these two abilities need 5,000 points to be strengthened each time. Chiya's enhancement points are not enough. In addition, these points Chiya can also be used to open the new Nen system. Strengthen the Ring of Angels. Chiya already has a direction to use these strengthening points. Chiya is going to strengthen the healing ability of the Angel Ring first, and then the rest is used to activate the Enhancer Nen system. The difference in physique made Chiya's fight with Samoke just now full of aggrievedness, and Chiya had already made a decision just now. Never let yourself be bombarded by the enemy again and again in the next battle due to lack of physical strength. That feeling Chiya has had enough. There are 6 Nen systems, each of which has its own characteristics. The developed Nen can all be used in combat. Even if it is an auxiliary ability, its mind energy can also be used in combat, offense and defense. However, the one that is most suitable for combat is indeed the Enhancer. The Enhancer is the system with the most combat effectiveness among the 6 major systems, and it is the most suitable for combat. The Nyen Chi of the Enhancer can double the destructive power of the user, and unleash the most powerful destructive power of the 6 series. Of course, except for special cases like Chiya. The destructive power of Chiya's thunder is not weaker than that of Enhancer. However, in terms of strength and defense, Chiya's Conjurer, traits, and Manipulator are not as good as Enhancer. If Chiya had Enhancer Nen, the previous battle would not have been so embarrassing. Even if the attack could hurt Samoke, he was still slapped by Samoke like a football, so aggrieved. Ding. Use 1,000 strengthening points to strengthen the Ring of the Angel. Congratulations to the host for getting the Breath of the Archangel. As soon as Chiya's voice fell, the voice of the system sounded in his mind. I'm going. The Breath of the Archangel, the one from the Island of Greed. Chiya suddenly widened his eyes when he heard the prompt from the system, and yelled out in disbelief. Yes, host, the strengthened angel ring can exert the healing power of the Archangel's breath. As long as the host has enough energy, it can be used indefinitely. The system quickly replied. After being confirmed, Chiya's heart suddenly thumped. The Breath of the Archangel, although this ability cannot revive the dead, it can be done with flesh and bones. It is very abnormal. In the original book, Free CSS was blown off by a pinch of gunpowder while fighting the bomb Moganshu, and the palm disappeared completely, leaving only the arm. But after using the Breath of the Archangel, his palm fully recovered within a few seconds. It can be said that he can truly achieve the ability to regenerate flesh and blood. And, more than that, as long as it is not death, no matter what kind of injury you receive, you can use the Breath of the Archangel to save it. Of course, if the damage was caused by the oath and the ability to restrict this abnormal rule, the Breath of the Archangel would not be able to heal it. That kind of thing can only be lifted by the Necromancer, and the deeper vows and constraints, like the forced growth used by that brat Free CSS, even the Necromancer avoids it. Only Nanika the existence of super abnormalities can be eliminated. To say too much, although the Breath of the Archangel can't reach this level, but for Chiya, it is completely a life-saving talisman. From now on, no matter how seriously Chiya is injured, as long as she doesn't die immediately and her Nyen Chi is not exhausted, using the breath of this Archangel can hang her life. And as long as Chiya is not killed by the enemy, Chi Ya can use the breath of the Archangel to save his life instantly, and then use the special space ability to escape instantly. The cooperation of the two abilities is exactly one more life, no, it is countless lives. Gaining the ability of the Archangel's breathing, Chi Ya's heart was surging, he was so excited that he couldn't calm down at all. It took more than 10 minutes for Chi Ya to recover from this excitement. Looking at the silver ring in his hand, Chi Ya became more and more satisfied. Immediately, Chi Ya set his sights on the remaining strengthening points. The Ring of Angels has been strengthened, and the number of reinforcement points required for the next reinforcement has become more. Chi Ya's Conjurer is the same as the ability of the Trait Department, both of which are 5,000 points. The remaining strengthening points are 2,563 points, which is not enough to support the next strengthening of these three abilities. No, it should be said that it is not enough for the next enhancement, after all, it needs 5,000 points. Chi Ya hasn't collected all 5,000 reinforcement points so far, and used them all directly. System: use 1,000 enhancement points to awaken the enhancer, and strengthen the rest directly. To understanding. Ding. Congratulations to the host for awakening the enhancer system with 1,000 enhancement points, and congratulations to the host for obtaining the enhancer Nen. Congratulations to the host for using 100 enhancement points to enhance enhancer Nen. Congratulations to the host for using 200 enhancement points to enhance enhancer Nen. Congratulations to the host for using 500 enhancement points to enhance enhancer Nen. Congratulations to the host for using 1,000 enhancement points to strengthen enhancer Nen. Name: Chi Ya Zoldyck ability. Nen. Conjurer Nen Speed Thunder, 5,000 Trait Nen Space, 5,000 Manipulator Nen Ring of Angel Archangel's Breath, 5,000 Enhancer Nen, 5,000 Strengthen Points. Deputy ability. Cuisine. Advanced Cuisine, 500, note. In brackets are the enhancement points required for the next enhancement. Strengthening points. 627 item. Aluminum alloy yo-yo. Enhancer Nen can be said to have no moves, and it is also the most simple and straightforward of the 6 series, directly cultivating the destructive power and defensive power of Nian Qi. Along with cultivating the physical body, the physique of Nen of Enhancer is basically stronger than that of Nen of other systems. Not to mention the destructive power and defensive power, the defense power is not mentioned, the mind energy defense of each system is the same, the difference is that the mind energy characteristics are different, and the defense power that can be played is also different. The Nian Qi defense cultivated by Enhancer Nen is the strongest among the 6 systems. As for destructive power, that is moves. The destructive power of the Enhancer is to gather the thoughts and energy together, and hit the strongest blow that you can hit. In the original book, Uvajin Super Destructive Punch, J. Free CSS Guessing Punch, and Nobunaga Hazama Siai all gather the energy of the mind and then hit the most destructive blow. The difference is that the former two use fists, while the latter only gathers energy on the weapon. The awakening of the Enhancer changed Chi Ya's thoughts again, and Chi Ya clearly felt it. At the same time, the amount of Nian Qi in Chi Ya's body increased a lot again, almost 1/3. As for the change of Nian Qi, Chi Ya's Nian Qi before was very gentle. However, after awakening the Enhancer, the Nian Qi in Chi Ya's body became extremely aggressive, not the aggressiveness transformed into thunder, but it is the thought energy itself that has a strong aggressiveness. Stretching out his hand, blue Nian Qi emerged in Chi Ya's hand, and the powerful aggressiveness of Nian Qi instantly appeared in Chi Ya's perception. Chi Ya remained silent for a while, then left the room and came to the courtyard. As soon as he appeared in the courtyard, Chi Ya punched the ground directly. Boom. Under Chi Ya's attack, the ground instantly cracked open, spreading around like a spider's web. Boom. Accompanied by a loud noise, the ground split open, a radius of 100 meters collapsed, and the entire station was destroyed and turned into ruins. Chi Ya. The resident is gone. This place is the territory of the Hunter Association. Am I provoking the Hunter Association? No, just run away. Looking at the situation in the yard, Chi Ya was stunned, embarrassed, and then shifted to another space, directly running away. It's not a joke if it is discovered. Destroying the place of the Hunter Association like this, if it is discovered, it will definitely be regarded as a provocation, and it will be regarded as directly offending the Hunter Association. In the city of Valero, in a star hotel, in a luxurious room, Chi Ya's figure appeared out of thin air accompanied by white light. This is the hotel where Chi Ya stayed in the city. After returning to the hotel, Chi Ya went directly into the bathroom and began to wash up. This time, Chi Ya came back from the depths of the wetland, and it can be said that Chi Ya was in a mess, feeling extremely uncomfortable. Half an hour later, the sound slowly disappeared, and Chi Ya came out of the bathroom wearing a small bathrobe. Phew, refreshed. After coming out, Chi-Ya felt extremely comfortable all over, and couldn't help shouting out. Taking a bottle of drink from the refrigerator, Chi-Ya opened it directly, drank it in a big gulp, and then a soft and cute smile appeared on his face, as if it had melted. However, the next moment, Chi-Ya seemed to have noticed his current situation, and his face immediately recovered. No, although my body is a child, I'm not really a child, so I can't show such an inappropriate expression. Chi-Ya admonished himself. Phew, I'm so tired. I'll rest for 2 hours first, and then go to the hospital to see Menchi. After stretching her body, Chi-Ya threw herself into the big soft bed, and kept rubbing against the soft bed. The expression on her face softened again. The next moment, Chi-Ya found out that something was wrong with her again. She was slightly embarrassed, and then her face became serious again. The Nian Qi is consumed too much. Let's go back after the Nian Qi is fully recovered. In the last blow before, Chi-Ya used not only the thunder in the sky, Chi-Ya used all the Nian Qi in his 9 layers up. That's why it has that kind of power, otherwise it really can't kill a monster like Samoke. However, if this is the case, it was only done after Samoke was broken through the defense by himself. Samoke's physique is so strong, if he didn't break through the defense, open a hole in his body, and then use the power of thunder to destroy it from the inside, he really couldn't kill him. Oh, no, he couldn't force it to explode. Now there are only 2 layers of Nian Qi in Chi-Ya's body. With so little Nian Qi, you can't kill many monsters if you go there, so let's go back after the Nian Qi recovers. However, I have the cured Nen now, and after the Nian Qi recovers, let's recover Menchi's injury by the way. With this thought in mind, Chi-Ya gradually fell into a deep sleep. At the same time, on a certain airship bound for Valero, the figure of Kikyo Zoldyck dressed as a lady appeared here. The electronic eye on the face is constantly flashing at this time, showing the impatience of its owner at this time. Chi-Ya, you are the future head of the Zoldyck family. Friends are not what you should have. You should be more mature, and you can't contact those vixens outside. The electronic eyes kept flickering, and Kikyo kept murmuring, talking to himself. His strong desire to control Chi-Ya can be heard in his self-talk. Ah, it's so late. In the middle of the night, Chi-Ya woke up from a deep sleep, looking at the night scene outside the window, slightly surprised. Chi-Ya didn't expect that she would sleep for so long, from 4 o'clock to now. Yawning lightly, Chi-Ya got up and walked towards the bathroom. Just after waking up, Chi-Ya was about to wash her face. However, before Chi-Ya walked into the bathroom, Chi-Ya's cell phone on the bedside table did ring. Chi-Ya was slightly surprised, then walked back. Linen tone? Looking at the caller ID, Chi-Ya murmured softly. Why is she calling me? What happened? Thinking of this, Chi-Ya connected the phone. It's no good, Master Chi-Ya. Master Kikyo is here, and now he is going to kill the patient you ordered me to take care of. As soon as the phone was connected, the panicked voice of Ya Mayan came from the other side. At the same time, there was another voice. Ya Mayan, get out of the way. I'll just say it once, since you are the granddaughter of Zipo Nian, I forgive you for your rudeness. Why is mom here? Hearing this voice, Chi-Ya was taken aback for a moment, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. The next moment, Chi-Ya activated the space ability without hesitation to teleport to the hospital. As the linen tone said just now, Kikyo is going to kill Menchi. Although Kikyo's personality is very perverted, he has always been consistent and vigorous. Say it just once and say it just once. Chi-Ya doesn't believe that the linen tone can stop Kikyo. 1 second too late, Menchi and Yumain might be dead at Kikyo's hands. In the hospital, Ya Mayan stood in front of the hospital bed, looking at Kikyo vigilantly. And Kikyo, after speaking, walked towards the hospital bed. The pair of electronic eyes kept flickering, showing the anger in the owner's heart at this moment. Just right there. Mom, don't take a step closer. The appearance of a voice made Kikyo stop. Chi-Ya's figure appeared in front of Ya Mayan and Kikyo with white light. Oh. Chi-Ya, I finally see you. Seeing Chi-Ya's appearance, Kikyo was suddenly excited, his voice trembled, and he stretched out his hand tremblingly towards Chi-Ya. I seem to have completely forgotten about Menchi. Seeing this scene, the corners of Chi-Ya's mouth twitched. Kikyo is really good to himself, very good, to the point of doting, but he has a weird personality. Obviously I just met before I came out a few days ago. But she looks like she hasn't seen her for more than 10 or even decades. However, speaking of it, in the original work, the Zoldyck family, except for Silva and Geno, everyone else is controlled. My own life is no exception, and it seems to have gotten worse. Ya Mayan, leave this to me, you go out first. Chi-ya ordered to Ya Mayan behind him. Yes, Master Chi-ya. After Chi-ya appeared, Ya Mayan also heaved a sigh of relief. She had summoned up the courage to stand in front of Kikyo just now. However, as soon as Kikyo spoke, she flinched. Fortunately Chi-ya came over, otherwise she really didn't know what to do. Now that Chi-ya gave such an order, Ya Mayan suddenly felt relieved of all the burdens. After answering, Ya Mayan saluted Kikyo and walked out. Hey, Mom. What are you doing here? Seeing Kikyo touching her face continuously, Chi-ya didn't resist, and said. Ah, Chi-ya. My Chi-ya has grown up a bit, and her temperament has become more mature. Facing Chi-ya's question, Kikyo seemed to have not heard at all, and was still stroking Chi-ya's cheek, excited talking. Chi-ya. Head full of black lines. It's just that I haven't seen you for a few days, so where are the changes you mentioned? Gently patted Kikyo's face, Chi-ya woke up Kikyo from all kinds of excitement. Chi-ya. Let's go home with Mom. Kikyo, who returned to his senses, grabbed Chi-ya's hand and said to Chi-ya with a smile. Mommy totally forgot about killing Menchi, however, that's okay. Chi-ya thought silently. However, the sky is not beautiful. As soon as he took Chi-ya's hand, Kikyo thought of something and looked at Chi-ya seriously. Chi-ya. Listen to your mother, don't get in touch with this kind of vixen in the future. Kikyo's face became gentle within 2 seconds of seriousness, and he gently instructed Chi-ya. After speaking, Kikyo let go of Chi-ya's hand and walked towards the hospital bed. However, how could Chi-ya, who saw what Kikyo was thinking, let Kikyo succeed? He just grabbed Kikyo's hand and prevented Kikyo from passing. Chi-ya? Kikyo was startled and looked at Chi-ya in surprise. Mom. Don't mind my affairs. Chi-ya frowned, with a slightly angry tone, and snapped at Kikyo. Ah. Chi-ya. Chi-ya actually spoke to me in such a harsh tone, and she has matured a lot. Kikyo is indeed a pervert. Hearing his son speak to him in such a tone, not only did he not get angry, but instead it is extremely exciting and joyful. This reaction made the corners of Chi-ya's eyes twitch. Ah, Mom's character, I really can't hold it. Chi-ya's face remained unchanged, but he sighed inwardly. Mom. I will grow up according to my own way of life, and I will definitely become a qualified patriarch, so I will never allow you to intervene in my affairs, even if you are the same. Sighed slightly, Chi-ya's face turned cold, his eyes radiated a cold light, and he said indifferently, just as he finished speaking, an indescribable terrifying aura instantly enveloped Kikyo. Surrounded by Chi-ya's aura, Kikyo trembled all over, then covered his lips with his hands, and looked at Chi-ya in surprise. I am very excited about Chi-ya's attitude towards me at this time. Even with electronic eyes, I can still see Kikyo's happiness and joy from the flickering screen. Chi-ya. Have you grown to this point? Mom knows. Mom won't interfere with your life in the future, but, correspondingly, Chi-ya, you have to promise me to become a qualified and perfect head of the family. Kikyo said ecstatically. If Silva knew, Kikyo, who had high hopes for him and hoped to teach Chi-ya a lesson, was so easily moved by Chi-ya's words, and gave up on Menchi, with an expression of not knowing what it would be like. Well, I promise you, Mom. Chi-ya was slightly surprised, but she didn't expect Kikyo to be so easy to talk, and then she smiled and said with a smile. Mom, since you're here, let me go out with you for a walk. Ah, I'm so tired. After sending Kikyo away, and returning to the hotel, Chi-ya casually threw a lot of bags on the bed, and then looked hopeless. After shopping with Kikyo for more than an hour, I finally sent Kikyo away. Speaking of which, in past and present lives, Chi-ya is the first time to go shopping with someone. Regardless of physical strength or not, it is really tiring to go shopping with a woman. Even Chi-ya is the same. After a few hours, I feel that the bones in my whole body are about to fall apart. Ah, it's too bad. Let's go and treat Menchi tomorrow. Although Chi-ya just fell asleep before, but now he feels a strong sleepiness constantly disturbing his heart, making Chi-ya faint drowsy. Chi-ya didn't resist the strong drowsiness, she just fell on the bed and fell asleep within a few seconds. The next morning, Chi-ya woke up early. When I woke up, the soreness all over my body disappeared, and I felt refreshed all over my body. Twisting his arms, Chi-ya threw the messy bags on the bed into the system space, and then walked into the bathroom. After washing up, Chi-ya left the room and rushed towards the hospital. Young Master Chi-ya. Ya Mayan took care of Menchi very diligently, and when he saw Chi-ya coming, he immediately got up and greeted him. Morning, Yamayan. Chi-ya greeted Yamayan with a smile. After saying hello, Chi-ya looked at the hospital bed and Menchi, who hadn't woken up. Although he is not yet awake, it can be seen from Menchi's even breathing that Menchi's injury has stabilized. However, it will take a long time to wake up and fully recover. After a moment of silence, Chi-Ya stretched out her hand and placed it on Menchi's white forehead. Archangel's breath. As Chi-Ya murmured softly, a white light appeared behind Chi-Ya, and a blonde woman with a sacred aura appeared behind Chi-Ya. After the blonde woman appeared, she blew a gentle breath towards Menchi in front of Chi-Ya. This breath fell on Menchi's body and turned into a white light covering Menchi. I saw Menchi's whole body wrapped in luminous light, and then I saw Menchi's brow moved slightly, and the next moment, Menchi's eyes opened. Here. Menchi, who opened his eyes, muttered blankly. This is Heal Nen. Isn't Master Chi-Ya a conjurer? He's also an electric attribute. How could he suddenly have such a powerful healing ability? Yamayan looked at this scene in shock, and his heart was full of shock. My young master's conjurer has already developed the attribute ability of electricity. If he wants to develop a healing ability based on this, the difficulty is almost as high as the sky. After all, once the conjurer's mind changes, it is almost fixed. It is very difficult to change other things, not to mention such a powerful healing ability, which can completely restore people in an instant. Moreover, Master Chi-Ya has this ability, so why did he bring this woman to the hospital for treatment? Master Chi-Ya can use this ability to heal this woman. Unless. Yamayan suddenly thought of a possibility, and his heart speeded up in disappointment. Unless this ability was just developed by Master Chi-Ya. It's so powerful just after it was developed. This, Master Chi-Ya, what a terrifying talent. Lin Antone was beyond shock. Chi-Ya naturally didn't know Lin Yin's inner thoughts. You'd be surprised if you knew. A woman's brain power is really strong, and she can make a good guess just by looking at it. Guess that Chi-Ya's treatment Nen has just been developed. However, Chi-Ya doesn't know Lin Yin's inner thoughts. At this moment, Chi-Ya had withdrawn her hand, and the archangel behind her also disappeared. Have you recovered? Seeing Menchi's dazed look, Chi-Ya asked calmly. Chi-Ya's voice made Menchi tremble slightly, and those dazed eyes also focused, and the light in the eyes quickly recovered. Menchi sat up from the hospital bed all of a sudden, panting heavily, in shock. Seeing her appearance, Chi-Ya knew without guessing that Menchi had recalled the situation a few days ago. As soon as he recovered, he remembered what happened before the coma. I have to say that Menchi's mind is really good. Chi-Ya looked at Menchi quietly, but didn't speak. After more than a minute, Menchi also completely calmed down. Turning his head and looking at Chi-Ya, Menchi's expression was slightly complicated, and then his pink lips parted slightly. Thank you, little Chi-Ya. To thank Chi-Ya, Menchi habitually wanted to call Chi-Ya a boy, but when the words came to his lips, Menchi changed his words and spoke softly. This time it was really dangerous, and what happened in the depths of the wetlands taught Menchi a very important life lesson. Let Menchi realize his own shortcomings, and he is too easy to relax. I will never make such a mistake in the future. You're welcome. This time I'm also responsible. I should save you. Chi-Ya shook his head and said flatly. If he hadn't cheated Menchi himself, he wouldn't have brought back Moke, causing him to be seriously injured by a sneak attack. Now that you have recovered, let's stop our cooperation here. See you soon. Chi-Ya said with a light smile, and then reached out to take out the last Sa-Moke egg in the system space. This is your share, keep it. Putting Sa-Moke's egg on Menchi's hands, Chi-Ya said lightly. Yamayan, let's go. After speaking, Chi-Ya shouted to Yamayan, and after shouting, Chi-Ya walked towards the door. Yes, Master Chi-Ya. Hearing this, Yamayan immediately responded, walking behind Chi-Ya in 2 steps. Wait, Chi-Ya. Seeing that Chi-Ya was about to leave, Menchi was taken aback for a moment, and opened his mouth to stop Chi-Ya. What's wrong? Chi-Ya turned around and asked in confusion. No. Menchi was also stunned, seemed to think of something, fell silent, and then whispered. She stopped Chi-Ya just now. It was purely a conditioned reflex. She wanted to keep Chi-Ya, to keep this cooperative relationship. However, she didn't react until she called out. I don't seem to have the qualifications to retain this partnership at all. Because, in this cooperation, my performance is completely a burden, let alone an experienced hunter. If it weren't for Chi-Ya, I would have died this time because of my own mistakes. Well, I'll see you by fate. Chi-Ya was also slightly taken aback, then said with a smile. Menchi, I hope you will be more mature next time. Maybe we will have a chance to cooperate again at that time. Chi-Ya also saw it, and comforted him. Well, I will. I look forward to working together again. Next time, I will not let you down. Menchi was slightly taken aback when he heard this, and then with a bright smile on his face, he assured Chi Ya. Well, that's it. Ya Mayan, since Menchi has recovered, you should leave here too and go back to Kukulu Mountain. In a luxury black car, Chi Ya ordered to Ya Mayan who was driving. Hearing this, Ya Mayan, who was driving, was slightly taken aback, and didn't respond to Chi Ya immediately, with a hesitant expression on his face. What's the matter? Linen tone. Chi Ya naturally noticed the look on the linen tone, and couldn't help asking in doubt. Master Chi Ya, can I follow you and obey your orders? Hearing Chi Ya's question, Ya Mayan was startled and fell silent for a moment, then seemed to muster up his courage, looked sideways, and looked through the central rearview mirror. He looked at Chi Ya and said, Huh? Ya Mayan's words also made Chi Ya stunned, unable to react for a while. Can't you? Seeing that Chi Ya didn't respond, Ya Mayan's face darkened suddenly, feeling a little disappointed. No, it's just that I can't react for a while. I invited you to be my housekeeper for foreign affairs several times before, but you didn't agree. I didn't expect you to volunteer this time. Chi Ya shook his head slightly, and said a little funny. Hearing this, Ya Mayan didn't speak, but silently looked at the central rearview mirror, looked at Chi Ya expectantly, and waited for Chi Ya's reply. Although it is a master-servant relationship, and there is a slight age gap, the two can be said to be childhood sweethearts and have a deep relationship. This time, he was transferred by Chi Ya to take care of Menchi. Ya Mayan was very happy, but after coming here and knowing the purpose of being transferred, Ya Mayan felt very uncomfortable. Uncomfortable with Chi Ya's attitude towards Menchi. Chi Ya actually transferred herself here just for a woman. Moreover, after seeing Chi Ya face off with Mistress Kikyo for Menchi, Ya Mayan became even more agitated. After checking the reason for his current mood overnight, Ya Mayan also knew what his current situation was. I seem to be jealous, to eat Menchi's jealousy. Ya Mayan was taken aback after knowing that she would actually have such emotions. Because it means that I have feelings for Chi Ya. As a housekeeper, it is completely unacceptable for him to have such undeserved feelings for his master. Ya Mayan immediately wanted to cut off his feelings that he didn't know when. However, Ya Mayan couldn't do it no matter what, and his heart was extremely entangled. Moreover, this feeling became more and more intense with the entanglement in his heart. It is precisely for this reason that Ya Mayan did such an abnormal thing today. In the past, she always obeyed orders. Okay, Ya Mayan wants to act with me, I can't wait for it. Faced with Ya Mayan's expectant look in those eyes like small animals, Chi Ya was slightly amused in his heart, with a faint smile on his face, gave the answer. As soon as these words came out, Ya Mayan's eyes lit up and his heart thumped. I actually did it, and Master Chi Ya also allowed it. While Ya Mayan's heart was secretly startled, it was more joyful, the corners of his mouth raised unconsciously on his expressionless face, and a faint smile appeared on his delicate face. And all of this, Ya Mayan himself did not notice at all. Instead, Chi Ya at the back noticed it through the central rearview mirror. Ya Mayan seems to be a little abnormal today. Chi Ya muttered inwardly. Master Chi Ya, where are you going? Ah, this one, let's go to Shimmel Wetland. Yes. Master Chi Ya. Master Chi Ya, why did you come to this place? After more than an hour's journey, Chi Ya and Ya Mayan arrived outside the wetland, got off the car and walked towards the periphery of the wetland. While walking, Ya Mayan was also puzzled. Naturally, she knew what this place was in the Wetmile Wetland. It was a place where monsters and monsters gathered. What is Master Chi Ya doing in this kind of place? Kill the monster. Chi Ya replied very calmly. What? Kill Warcraft. Came here specifically to kill monsters. What's so good about World of Warcraft? In addition to gaining some combat experience, killing monsters is completely thankless. By the way, increase combat experience. Speaking of it, it seems that Master Chi Ya doesn't have much combat experience with monsters except for assassination missions. Did you come here to gain combat experience? Ya Mayan looked at Chi Ya's indifferent expression. Guessed silently. However, after the two of them went deep into the periphery of Shimmel Wetland, Ya Mayan directly overturned his guess. Have you ever seen that person who kills enemies instantly to accumulate combat experience? Along the way, the place where the two of them passed was bloody and bloody. Countless monsters lost their lives under Chi Ya's yo-yo. Along the way, Ya Mayan no longer speculated on Chi Ya's reason for killing the monster. She could see that there was no reason for Chi Ya to come here to kill monsters, but simply came here to kill monsters. Seeing Chi Ya constantly looking for the hidden monsters, and then killing them instantly, Ya Mayan did not continue to remain silent. She was going to act with Chi Ya by Chi Ya's side, so naturally she couldn't just do nothing. Therefore, she also started to kill monsters and fight monsters with Chi Ya. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing and getting 23 enhancement points. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing and getting 26 enhancement points. The system's killing reminder sounded continuously in his mind, and Chi Ya's strengthening points were slowly increasing. However, after finding a monster again and killing it, Chi Ya stopped, looking helplessly at Ya Mayan, who was even crazier than herself. Ya Mayan, are you trying to steal monsters from me? Chi Ya asked with some confusion. Eh? Master Chi Ya, do you want to kill these monsters by yourself? Sorry, my subordinate has overstepped. Hearing this, Ya Mayan was taken aback for a moment, hearing the entanglement in Chi Ya's words, and then quickly admitted his mistake in a low voice. Ah, you don't need to make a move, just follow me, I will do it myself. Chi Ya nodded slightly and ordered. Yes, Master Chi Ya. Master Chi Ya's strength has become stronger again. After watching Chi Ya easily blow up a huge monster with his fist, Ya Mayan's heart once again stirred up waves. She could see that Chi Ya hadn't used Nen since just now, and was purely using her physical strength to attack. Just now, in front of her, Chi Ya punched a monster more than 10 meters in size and very powerful at first glance. Even if he uses Nen himself, it is difficult to kill this monster. However, in Chi Ya's hands, it was dealt with lightly, without even using Nen. This situation looked very shocking in the eyes of Ya Mayan. But on Chi Ya's own side, it feels very normal. Chi Ya's enhancer has been directly strengthened 4 times after awakening. Although it cannot be compared with Conjurer, it is still extremely powerful. With the enhancer reaching this level, Chi Ya's physique has naturally changed a lot. The current Chi Ya is completely comparable to Uvijin in Phantom Troop in terms of physique and strength. That guy Uvijin is known as Phantom Troop's strongest wrist, so it goes without saying that his strength is strong. With Chi Ya's strength at this level, it would be no problem to kill a monster outside the wetland without using Nen. Okay, the warm-up is over, and the next step is to enter the depths. After punching the enemy in front of him and listening to the system's prompt, Chi Ya twisted his body, making a crisp sound, and then said calmly. Master Chi Ya, you want to enter the depths of Shimmel Wetland. As soon as these words came out, Ya Mayan was startled. As the steward of the Zoldyck family, there is naturally a lot of knowledge to learn, including the situation of secret places around the world. Linen sound is very clear, what a terrifying place deep in the Wetmele Wetland is. In the depths of the Wetmele Wetland, it is very dangerous even for my grandma to enter that kind of place. So when he heard that Chi Ya actually wanted to enter that kind of place, he couldn't help shouting out. Well, the magical beasts there are more valuable. Faced with Ya Mayan's fuss, Chi Ya was not surprised, and said calmly. No, Master Chi Ya, that kind of place is not something that you can enter now, Master Chi Ya. Master Chi Ya must have at least half the strength of the Master to enter. Ya Mayan won't let you in, Master Chi Ya. Hearing Chi Ya's casual words, Ya Mayan also knew Chi Ya's contempt, and quickly stopped her. Although as housekeepers, the Master's instructions and orders are given priority, but as housekeepers, they are also qualified to dissuade them from taking risks when the Master is in danger and insists on going his own way. Ya Mayan, look at me. Looking at Ya Mayan, Chi Ya said with a smile on her face. Immediately, a terrifying aura swept out instantly, enveloping the linen sound. Ya Mayan's long straight black hair flew straight up at this moment, and his pupils constricted. It's so strong. No, it's terrifying. This kind of aura is even more terrifying than Grandma's aura. Looking at Chi Ya who was smiling, Ya Mayan was extremely shocked. Chi Ya was naturally not angry when Ya Mayan stopped him. He knew that Ya Mayan was doing it for his own good, so naturally he couldn't blame her. However, he also knew that Ya Mayan's character was very serious and old-fashioned. If he couldn't convince her, Ya Mayan might try his best to stop him. So Chi Ya doesn't mind letting Ya Mayan know her strength. And if you want to let others know your own strength, the 4 major lines in Nen, and the FA, among them is the best choice. Win by momentum, I don't move, the enemy retreats by itself. This is, hair, while overwhelming others with power, hair is also the best way to make the enemy feel the terror of himself. Just like the Sky Arena and the 200 floors in the original book, this is what Hisoka used to intimidate Free CSS in the original Chi Ya. While intimidating the enemy, it also allows the enemy to fully understand their own strength and their own terror. Fa, Chi Ya didn't release it for too long, Chi Ya retracted it in just 3 seconds. After all, Ya Mayan in front of him is one of his own, not an enemy, so there is no need to use this to intimidate her. 3 seconds is enough time for Ya Mayan to know his current strength. I'm going into the depths of Shimmel Wetland now, is it okay? Chi Ya asked with a smile, seeing Wei Wei's sluggish linen voice. Hearing Chi Ya's voice, Ya Mayan also came back to his senses, looked at Chi Ya with a slightly complicated expression, did not speak, but nodded, expressing that he would not hinder Chi Ya's actions. Since there is no problem, let's go. Chi Ya nodded slightly, then turned and walked in the direction he had gone before. Master Chi Ya. At this moment, Ya Mayan suddenly spoke. Chi Ya paused, turned around, and looked at Ya Mayan suspiciously, wondering what she was going to do when she called her back. Master Chi Ya, I'm very sorry. I just asked for my order to serve you, Master Chi Ya, but in Yamayan, I had to ask the master to forgive me, and then Yamayan will not be able to stay with Master Chi Ya. In the depths of the Shimmel Wetland, that place is not accessible to the linen sound. Entering that kind of place, the linen sound will only become a burden and cause trouble to Master Chi Ya. Seeing Chi Ya's gaze, Linen Tone immediately startled, quickly lowered his eyes, not daring to look at Chi Ya, and said in a somewhat evasive manner. Is that so? Well, you stay outside. Chi Ya heard this, thought for a while, and then nodded. Indeed, although the flax tone can be Nen, it is not very strong. After all, he is not very old, only in his teens. After finishing speaking, Chi Ya turned around and prepared to move on, but Ya Mayan stopped Chi Ya again and made Chi Ya turn around again. Wait, Master Chi Ya, Ya Mayan has something else to tell you. Chi Ya didn't speak, looked at the Linen Tone, and motioned to the Linen Tone to continue. I'm sorry, Master Chi Ya, I just asked to follow Master Chi Ya, but now, Ya Mayan has to apply to withdraw this request, please forgive me, Master Chi Ya. Master Chi Ya, the current Yamayan is not qualified to stand by your side, so Yamayan wants to go back to Kukulu Mountain to find Grandma to practice and improve his strength so that he will be qualified to stand by your side one day to share your worries. Ya Mayan changed her dodging expression before, stared into Chi Ya's eyes seriously, and said seriously. I agree to your request. Chi Ya was slightly taken aback, silent for more than 10 seconds, then smiled faintly at Ya Mayan, and gave a reply. After finishing speaking, he turned around and walked towards the depths of the Wetmele Wetland. Please rest assured, Ya Mayan will never let you down. Seeing Chi Ya's back going away, Ya Mayan took 2 steps forward and shouted loudly. Then I'm looking forward to it. The concentration of the fog has weakened. What's going on? Chi Ya noticed something strange as soon as he stepped into the dividing line. In the depths of Shimmel Wetland, there was dense fog, and the visibility was less than 5 meters, but now, the dense fog has dissipated a lot, and it can be clearly seen within a radius of more than 20 meters. Is it because I killed Samoke? No, it shouldn't be, it may be the peculiarity of this place. However, these have nothing to do with me. It is more beneficial for me to dissipate the dense fog. Those monsters that rely on the dense fog to hide have lost their natural shelter. I can find them more easily. In the depths of Shimmel Wetland, although many monsters will eliminate their breath and make themselves hidden, ordinary people can't find their existence at all. However, among them, the role of dense fog occupies most of it. Because of the dense fog, these magical beasts almost completely disappeared in the wetland after the breath was eliminated. If the perception ability was not strong, they would not be found at all. However, now that the dense fog has dissipated so much, the possibility of these monsters being exposed will increase greatly. Such a great opportunity, let's do it. After carefully scanning the surroundings, Chi Ya stepped forward and acted quickly. Soon, there was commotion in the depths of the quiet Wetmele Wetland. The screams of monsters resounded over the wetland from time to time, fleeting. And Chi Ya's strengthening point is also rising steadily. Chi Ya obtained 427 enhancement points outside the wetland before, and there were 763 points left, which adds up to 1190 enhancement points. And entering here, Chi Ya's strengthening point increases at twice the speed of the outside of the Wetmele Wetland. In just 1 hour, Chi Ya's reinforcement points increased by more than 1,000. Up to now, Chi Ya's reinforcement points have reached 2,530 points. But, although she has obtained so many strengthening points, Chi Ya's face does not have any happy expression, but frowns tightly. It's strange, the monsters along the way seem to be purposely exposed, and although the exposed positions are different, but when I think about it carefully, these monsters seem to be leading me to a certain place. Killed one again. Chi Ya's immature face frowned after the demonic beast with good strength and couldn't recognize its type, thinking carefully. Chi Ya discovered the weirdness of these magical beasts, and since just now, Chi Ya has always had a bad feeling. This feeling is as if I continue to go deeper, I will encounter a very terrifying crisis. However, this premonition loomed, making Chi Ya a little uncertain. However, although it is looming, Every time it is perceived, this premonition becomes stronger. Go. Get out of here. After thinking for a while, Chi-Ya made a decisive decision and gave up the plan to continue hunting monsters here. Speed. Flash. Accompanied by Chi-Ya's low voice, Chi-Ya's body turned into a bolt of lightning and flashed towards the distance. In the blink of an eye, Chi-Ya's figure appeared 200 meters away, and then the thunder flashed again, and the figure disappeared again. But at the moment Chi-Ya turned on the super speed, a change suddenly appeared in the depths of the wetland. A vicissitudes and majestic voice resounded throughout the depths of the wetland. Do it. Chi-Ya, who was running at a high speed, shrank his pupils when he heard the voice, and said secretly. Really? Immediately, Chi-Ya's whole body flashed with lightning again, the thunder snake surged, and its speed doubled again. And at this moment, an invisible wave spread from Chi-Ya's left side. The air became viscous in an instant, and the resistance increased greatly. Under this resistance, Chi-Ya's speed suddenly weakened. Chi-Ya was startled for a moment. However, it was more than that. The next moment, Chi-Ya found that there was a strong pressure coming from his body. Unable to prevent it, Chi-Ya was directly pressed to the ground. The ground was directly pressed out of countless cracks, and Chi-Ya's body was tightly attached to the ground. Immediately afterwards, dense clusters of sharp objects exuded faint light, covering Chi-Ya from above Chi-Ya like giant hands covering the sky. Boom. The earth cracked, gunpowder smoke filled the air, and gravel flew across. Countless cracks spread out like spider webs. Swish. A figure rushed out of the gunpowder smoke, and came to a big tree and squatted halfway. The air has become thicker. Also, is this pressure due to gravity? Chi-Ya silently analyzed with a gloomy face. Boom. Roar. Call out. Swish. With a sound, 4 majestic and terrifying monsters appeared in front of Chi-Ya. A huge black bear with a height of more than 20 meters, a white tiger with a pair of white wings, and in front of Chi-Ya is a small but strange wasp, and behind it is a huge group of the same kind, guarding it like a guard. As for the last one, it was a white ape with a normal body, holding a stick made of fine steel, and covered with silver hair. The white ape stood at the front, and the other 3 stood a little behind. It can be seen at a glance that the 4 monsters are mainly white apes. Humans who killed Samoke, Shimmel will be your burial place. When Chi-Ya was observing the 4 monsters, the white ape suddenly spoke, and spit out human language. The ape actually spoke. So, was it the one that made the sound just now? What a surprise. No, it is not very unusual. The Chimera Ant Queen from the Dark Continent can speak, and it is acceptable for a powerful monster to speak human words. But, it's really strange that overlords of your level would group together to attack humans. Have you let go of your dignity? Chi-Ya squinted his eyes, and said lightly, his tone full of contempt. Although I really don't want to admit that the strength of that guy, Samoke, is one of the best among us, but it fell into your hands, and, from your frequent entry and exit, your target is us monsters. Rather than just sit and wait for death, it is better to work together to get rid of your threat. For this, it is nothing to sacrifice some dignity. Facing Chi-Ya's contemptuous tone, the white ape did not show any anger, but was very indifferent. The rabbit died and the fox was sad, that is to say, Samoke died in the hands of Chi-Ya, which made them feel this kind of feeling that shouldn't have happened, and made them feel the crisis. That's why they put aside their previous suspicions and joined forces to attack Chi-Ya. Who? Interesting, but do you think I look like a fool? Chi-Ya was slightly surprised, and then with a faint smile on his face, he smiled lightly at the white ape. What do you mean? Chi-Ya asked such a question suddenly, which immediately surprised Bai Yuan. Literally, goodbye, old guy. A sadistic and mocking smile appeared on his immature face, and the next moment, Chi-Ya's side disappeared from the sight of the 4 monster overlords in the white light. Disappeared. Whether it is body shape or breath, completely disappeared. The 4 monster overlords present looked at Chi-Ya who had completely disappeared, and looked at each other in blank dismay. This kid, did he use this ability to escape Samoke's self-destruction? Damn it, let him escape. White ape gritted his teeth. However, you'd better not show up. Let us find out next time, and I will never let you run away again, and I will definitely let you fall here. Taking a deep look in the direction of the periphery of Shimmel wetland, the white ape secretly hate road. Immediately, it exchanged glances with the other 3 monsters, jumped and quickly left here. The other 3 monsters looked at each other in blank dismay, and they also parted ways and left here. Huh. It's so dangerous, I didn't expect these guys to be so shameless and join forces to deal with me. Fortunately, I have the ability to space, otherwise I might have been left there this time. Outside the wetland, Kia's side appeared with a white light. As soon as it appeared, Chi Ya looked at the wetland inside. He said to himself. The four overlords of Warcraft just now exude a powerful aura that is not weaker than that of Samoke, and they are not easy to provoke at first glance. Don't look at Chi Ya killing Samoke yesterday. It was because Chi Ya occupied the sky yesterday and did it with the help of thundercloud weather. But even so, Chi Ya spent most of the energy in Chi Ya's body to do it. It is conceivable how powerful Samoke is, and the strength of these four monsters that do not lose to Samoke in terms of momentum can be imagined. Chi Ya's strength is simply impossible to beat. Moreover, under the combination of the four overlords of monsters, Chi Ya's combat power dropped by half directly. If it weren't for the existence of the space ability, under the blockade of these four monsters, Chi Ya would be very reluctant to escape, or even unable to escape. Trait system, space ability. This ability is really my savior, it has saved me twice. Once when Samoke blew himself up, and again now. The 2 times are dangerous, and if you are not careful, you will play go-go. Looking at the situation, we can't go to the depths of the Wetmele wetland. Those old guys may have been guarding me. It can only be harvested at the periphery. Although it is small, it is still very impressive to harvest all of it. Those 4 overlords will never appear in a place like the periphery. Talking to himself, Chi Ya walked towards the periphery of the wetland. Time passed by every minute and every second, and 10 minutes later, an earth-shattering roar came from the periphery of Shamail wetland. And in the city of Valero, hundreds of miles away, Chi Ya stayed at the hotel. In the room where Chi Ya was, Chi Ya's figure appeared out of nowhere accompanied by white light, and then landed on the soft bed. Sitting on the white bedsheet, Chi Ya propped her chin with one hand, with a speechless expression on her face. I'm going. I just killed Samoke. Do you need to hate me so much? Could it be that you have an affair with Samoke? Forget about the bear, it's the same species after all, but you are not. Cross-species PY trade, it's really dirty. Chi Ya said cursingly. Just now, after Chi Ya re-entered the wetland, he was hunted down within a few minutes. The 4 overlords of Warcraft actually ran from the depths of the wetland to the periphery. Seeing the appearance of these 4 overlords, Chi Ya made a decisive decision and escaped directly using the space ability. Afterwards, the white ape roared up to the sky. If it was just like this, Chi Ya would not be so speechless. The point is, according to this situation, it means that Chi Ya's idea of killing monsters here has failed. A lot of my strengthening points just flowed away from my hands. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have gone back to the depths of the Wetmele wetland, so I can still brush outside. Wei Wei complained to herself, and Chi Ya put the matter aside. It would have been nice if I had left a mark in the depths of the Wetmele wetland before. Then I could steal the backyard of those 4 old guys while they were on the periphery. Although Chi Ya has the ability to space, Chi Ya does not all places will leave marks. After all, many places are not suitable for leaving marks. Dangerous places like the depths of the wetlands. Who knows if you will be chilled by the monsters when you teleport it over. Moreover, the farther away the place, the more mental energy it takes to teleport there. So Chi Ya never left a mark in the depths of the Wetmele wetland before. Next, how about finding that place as a field to spawn monsters? Looking at the scenery outside the window, Chi Ya fell into deep thought. The room became quiet again. A few minutes later, Chi Ya's voice sounded again. Let's go back first. I can't think of any secret realm suitable for spawning monsters. Go back and find the family's biography. After thinking for a few minutes, Chi Ya made a decision. Go back and search for other secret realms. Just do what she said. After a brief wash, Chi Ya checked out directly, left the hotel, and left the city of Valero. Oh, by the way, let's remind Menchi. Chi Ya suddenly thought of something, took out his mobile phone and sent a message to Menchi to remind him. With the personality of that guy Menchi, after recovering, it is really possible to enter the Wetmele wetland again. With her strength, entering there now is absolutely dead. No way, that kid Chi Ya actually caused such a big disaster. Those overlords mainly came out of the Wetmele wetland, so it will be troublesome. You have to report the matter to the president as soon as possible, so that the group can send someone over here. Just received Chi Ya's message. After seeing the content of the message, Menchi was taken aback, and then, she thought of the bad thing about this situation, quickly took the phone, and sent the message. The information was reported to President Netero of the Hunter Association. Within a few days, the wetland welcomed the bad old man from the Hunter Association. As soon as this bad old man came, he directly cleaned up the 4 overlords, and then drove them back to the depths. As for why this bad old man didn't kill him, I don't know. These things are all things for later. Chi Ya naturally doesn't know. If she knows, Chi Ya will definitely come back here again. Although you can't go to the depths, you can still go to the periphery. At this time, Chi-Ya has boarded the airship back to Kukulu Mountain. After boarding the return airship, Chi-Ya quickly returned to Kukulu Mountain. Standing in front of the trial gate, Chi-Ya looked at the majestic and huge gate in front of him and was silent. I don't know how many doors I can open with my current strength. Thinking this way, Chi-Ya walked towards the door of trial with her backpack on her back. The immature little hand was placed on the door, and the next moment, the veins were exposed. Chi-Ya clenched her teeth, and all the strength in her body was released at this moment. Hum. With a strange noise, the heavy trial door was slowly pushed open. The doors on that floor after floor were also opened one after another. Until the end, the 7 gates were completely opened under the power of Chi-Ya. 256 tons. This is Chi-Ya's power at this time. No, being able to open all the doors of trials means that Chi-Ya's power is far more than that. After all, human power can explode, especially when fighting. I have such a powerful strength without using Neonki. I don't know what kind of strength I will have when I use Enhancer Neonki to fight. Chi-Ya can't guess, and if he wants to know his own strength, he must estimate it with the help of those sophisticated machines or by fighting with other enhancers. Without thinking too much, Chi-Ya stepped in from the gate of trial and walked towards the interior of Kukulu Mountain. But Jia Barong, the cleaner who witnessed Chi-Ya opening all the 7 trial doors outside, was deeply shocked. When did Master Chi-Ya possess such terrifying power? At this moment, there was only one thought in Ji Barong's mind. Naturally, Silva knew about Chi-Ya's return. As soon as he came back, Chi-Ya was called by Silva. I heard that you went to the depths of the Wetmale wetland? Silva Zoldyck asked lightly while standing in front of the balcony, looking at the scenery outside the window. Silva Zoldyck naturally would not ignore Chi-Ya calling the housekeeper. After Ya Mayan came back, he immediately asked about Chi-Ya from Ya Mayan's mouth, knowing that Chi-Ya entered the depths of the Wetmale wetland things. However, he didn't expect that just as Ya Mayan came back, Chi-Ya also returned to Kukulu Mountain. However, for this, he didn't want to ask, it wasn't necessary. What he cares about is Chi-Ya's harvest in Shimmel wetland. Well, I've gone. As for Silva's question, Chi-Ya was not surprised, and replied very calmly. What's the gain? Silva continued to ask, and that tone was completely normal for a father who cared about his children. The harvest is pretty good. Hearing this, Chi-Ya slightly narrowed her peach eyes and smiled like a little fox. Not only is it good, I can say that I have gained a lot from my visit to the Wetmile wetland this time. The space ability of the trait system, the breath of the archangel of the manipulator, the thunder of the conjurer, and the physical strengthening of the enhancer. None of these gains, any kind, can be achieved by ordinary people in their lifetime. Seeing Chi-Ya's expression, the paralyzed Silva couldn't help being surprised. He naturally knew what Chi-Ya's appearance represented. Every time Chi-Ya shows this appearance, it means that he has got a very considerable baby, so that the calm young son in his impression can't hold the expression on his face, laughing like a little fox who stole a chicken same. How about it? The strength of the monsters deep in the Shimmel wetland. He didn't intend to ask about Chi-Ya's harvest, but started to ask Chi-Ya's opinion on the Shimmel wetland. It's impossible for a strong, ordinary Nen to survive there. Silva's question immediately made Chi-Ya's face serious, and he said very seriously. Don't look at Chi-Ya shuttling back and forth in the depths of the Wetmale wetland freely, it's because Chi-Ya's strength is strong enough, and there is a space for Nen to exist. If it were an ordinary person's Nen, that is, the scum of those Nen would definitely die without life. Dad, even if you go into that place, it's probably very dangerous. Chi-Ya looked at Silva and said. Oh? Do you know my strength very well, and you have such an idea? Chi-Ya's words immediately made Silva a little unconvinced. He also went through the depths of the Wetmile wetland when he was young. Although it was full of dangers, he thought that with his current strength, there was no danger at all when he entered there. He is very confident in his own strength. Yes, I'm sure. You don't know how shameless those overlord monsters in the depths of Shimmel wetland are. They actually. Wait. You said you met those monster overlords? Hearing Chi-Ya mention the monster overlords, Silva was slightly surprised and interrupted hastily. That's right, Dad, you don't know how shameless those old guys are. I just killed a Sam-OK, and the rest of the old guys actually joined forces to deal with me, and were killed after I escaped a catastrophe. I actually ran to the outside to guard and didn't let me in. You said they are shameless. Chi-Ya was stunned for a while, then thought of the behavior of those monster beast overlords, and immediately continued, the tone is full of indignation. Dad, let me tell you, those old guys definitely have some ulterior secret behind them, some kind of PY transaction. Chi-Ya continued to speak angrily, without knowing it. Is twitching slightly. Dad. What's wrong with you? This expression. Chi-ya suddenly noticed Silva's unnatural expression, and asked in doubt. No, nothing. Silva opened his mouth, not knowing what to say. He was shocked by Chi-ya's words. Warcraft overlords, he naturally knew that when he was young, he also dealt with those Warcraft overlords when he was in the depths of the wet melee wetland. He also specially provoked them to improve his combat experience. However, he was chased away by the overlords of Warcraft. Now hearing that Chi-ya actually killed the big guy Samoke, Silva is not calm no matter how calm he is. Killed a Warcraft overlord at the age of 8. What kind of son am I born to? Monster. Finally, Silva gave the answer in his heart. Chi-ya. Do you want to fight with me? Seeing the shameless Chi-ya who was still babbling about the overlord of Warcraft, Silva thought for a while, and then asked. Eh? Boom. 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 In the training room, bursts of sonic booms were constantly echoing, thunder was raging, thoughts were surging, and the two figures were fighting fiercely at a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye. The shock waves of punches and punches continued to spread, ravaging the walls of the training room. The terrifying impact, even with the special nature of the training room, the walls are still full of cracks. One can imagine the horror of the power of the impact. The monsters in the wetland are not counted. This is the first time I have fought against a nen, and I am still fighting against a nen master like my father. This can improve my combat experience and skills with the nen. However, Dad's strength should not be underestimated. If you can use the power of the thunder of nature, you may be able to tie the game. With my own strength, I am not an opponent at all. In the battle of life and death, my father and I have a winning rate of 7-3 points. Whether it's the sophistication of combat experience, the greatness of mind energy, and the use of skills, I can't match it. It really is worthy of being the head of the Zoldyck family. This strength is indeed well deserved. I have to become stronger, otherwise it is impossible for the whole family to approve my decision. On top of Dad, there is Grandpa Geno, and on top of that is Maha's great-great-grandfather. If I want to gain the approval of all of them, I must have stronger strength. Silva Zoldyck is worthy of being the patriarch who can inherit the Zoldyck family. His strength, even the current Chi-ya, is still no match. The Enhancer's strength and mind energy and the Conjurer's thunder, the two were superimposed, and Chi-ya tried her best. Although she was not defeated, she was still suppressed and fell behind. If Chi-ya had more combat experience, he might be able to fight with Silva Zoldyck, the head of the Zoldyck family. However, right now, it is a rare opportunity to fight against a nen master of my father's level. This opportunity must be grasped well. Fight with all your strength, and increase your skills as much as you can increase your combat experience. With this thought, Chi-ya's offensive became more ferocious, almost a life-threatening attack. On Chi-ya's side, he was impressed by Silva's powerful strength, so why not on Silva's side? From the initial temptation to the stormy battle now, Silva is getting more and more frightened. He can be sure that Chi-ya's strength is very close to his own. It's just that the combat experience and skills are still immature among nen. If Chi-ya has the same rich combat experience as himself, maybe he has to fight with his life to defeat Chi-ya. Come here, Chi-ya. After punching Chi-ya again, the two flew upside down. Silva stabilized his body, and then reached out to stop Chi-ya who was attacking again. Hearing Silva's words, Chi-ya suddenly stopped from the state of super speed. What's the matter? Dad. Why stop? I already know your strength very well, there is no need to continue fighting, Silva said lightly. He proposed to fight Chi-ya this time because he wanted to test Chi-ya's strength. After the battle just now, he already knew Chi-ya's strength positioning. It can be said that Chi-ya's current strength is already the 4th place of Zoldyck. The Zoldyck people of this generation are respected by Chi-ya in terms of strength. Even if they are fans of ill, they are not Chi-ya's opponents. Of course, there was another reason for stopping. That is, he found that Chi-ya's attacks became more and more crazy, and he was fighting for his life. This guy doesn't know how to measure. The battle between father and son has developed to this extent. Ah, yes, forget it. Hearing this, Chi-ya was stunned for a few seconds, and then retreated from the super speed state with a regretful look. I recognize your strength. Even ill fans are not your opponents. I am very sure of this. However, your combat experience and skills are slightly insufficient. Chi-ya, I have a task here. Originally, I planned to complete it by myself. This time, I will leave it to you and let you complete it. Seeing Chi-ya's discouraged expression, Silva's expressionless face, the corner of his mouth twitched. This kid is really enough, and he still looks like a pity for killing his father. Mission? Chi-ya frowned slightly, wondering. Yes, the mission. This mission is to assassinate the member of the A-level criminal group Phantom Troop, Brigade Member Number 8. I'll ask Wutong to hand over the task information to you later, so you can go. Just enough to increase your combat experience and skills, Silva said lightly. As this task? Yes, I will take it. Chi Ya did not expect Silva to entrust this task to myself. According to the original situation, he should have shot it himself, and after he succeeded, he also said that it was not worthwhile to kill the members of the Phantom Troop members. Moreover, this assassination mission should have appeared a year later. Why did it appear now? Chi Ya was a little puzzled, but didn't care too much. It's not bad to entrust this task to myself, just to try the assassination technique combined with the new abilities. Well, that's it. Silva nodded slightly, and then left the dilapidated training room. Chi Ya looked at the messy scene around, shrugged and left. After returning to her own room, Chi Ya washed up quickly. Dad's fist is so powerful. If I hadn't possessed the enhancer's defense, I might have been broken directly. I scanned my body carefully, looking at the injuries of different degrees, purple-blue, congestion. Chi Ya sighed with emotion. Immediately, Chi Ya directly used the breath of the Archangel. In just a few seconds, he returned to his original state. Hey, even though I was beaten like this, my dad can't please me, Chi Ya thought gloatingly. Chi Ya's enhancer attack is no joke either. In fact, Silva is really having a hard time at this time. There were bruises everywhere under the practice clothes. Chi Ya, you are really ruthless. In the room, Silva wiped the wound medicine and thought silently. Boom. 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 There was a light knock on the door, followed by the voice of Wutong. Master Chi Ya, I am Wutong, and I have sent you a message. Come in. According to the intelligence, this is where Brigade Number 8 stayed recently. Sky Arena. What is Brigade Number 8 doing here? With doubts, Chi Ya stepped into the Sky Arena. Speaking of which, I should have been thrown here by my dad when I was 6 years old, and then I would fight from the first floor to the 200th floor after 2 years. Should I participate in the competition? Chi Ya suddenly had a thought. But, after thinking about it, Chi Ya shook her head and denied this sudden thought. For me now, Sky Arena can't enhance my strength at all. So forget it. The current Chi Ya is doing everything possible to increase his strength, and he doesn't want to waste time on such things at all. Let's find out the location of Brigade Number 8 first, complete the mission, and then go back to collect information about other secret realms. Chi Ya didn't mean to delay. Rather than wasting time here, it's better to complete the task early, and then go back to Kukulu Mountain to find the family's collection of books and find the next monster spawn point. Yixin. Why are you here? In the Sky Arena, on the 200th floor, in the dark corridor, 2 figures, one tall and one short, stood side by side, watching the competition being held outside, and the short figure made a voice. It can be heard from the voice that the owner of this voice is a woman. Well? Of course I have my reasons for coming here, Maki, just leave it alone. Another figure also spoke, and the gentle and magnetic voice echoed in the corridor, giving people a feeling of spring breeze. However, it's clear that the being named Maki doesn't care about him. Speak normally, or I'll sew your mouth shut. After hearing this, Maki trembled unconsciously, and then warned with black lines all over his head. The two were members of Phantom Troop. Maki of Brigade Number 3 and Chi Ya's target this time is Brigade Number 8, an existence named Yixin. Haha, Maki, you're still the same. The style of the painting changed suddenly, and the original magnetic voice suddenly disappeared, replaced by a very rough and old man's voice. I saw the tall Brigade Number 8 patted Maki on the shoulder wholeheartedly and laughed heartily. I just like seeing you like this, it's so cute. Swish. A cold light flashed, and the silver needle shot towards Brigade No 8's forehead with lightning speed. Oh, you are serious. Brigade Number 8 was obviously taken aback, quickly dodged to avoid the sudden attack, and then roared angrily. Shut up and touch my shoulder again, and I'll send you to hell, you disgusting guy. Maki's eyes flashed with a faint light, and it was not difficult to see from his eyes that he was interested in the Brigade Number 8 in front of him. Disgust. After finishing speaking, Maki left here quickly, leaving Number 8 of the brigade standing there alone in uncertainty. A drop of blood fell from Brigade No 8's brow and fell to the ground. After a long time, Brigade Number 8 slowly raised his head, without that cloudy look at all. Instead he raised the corners of his mouth with a weird smile on his face. This is a middle-aged man with extraordinary appearance and charm, coupled with his gentle and magnetic voice just now, he is a proper killer of ignorant girls. According to his conditions, if he were to tease those ignorant girls, he would definitely be sure to hit him. Maybe that's why Maki hates him. Hehe, I really value you, Maki, I will definitely get you. The middle-aged man smiled lightly with a meaningful smile on his face. Call out. At this moment, a silver ray of light quietly flashed across the neck of Brigade Number 8. Brigade Number 8 suddenly shrank his pupils and launched his Nyanki defense without hesitation. Then at the critical moment, he squatted down, quickly dodged the blow, and then rolled a donkey and quickly opened the distance. All of this happened within 1 second, which shows how fast Brigade Number 8 is. However, even at such a fast speed, Brigade Number 8 still couldn't escape all of them. Even with the Nyan Chi defense, there was still a bloodstain on his neck, and the blood slowly flowed down from his neck, staining his white shirt. Who is it? Brigade Number 8 didn't care about the wound on his neck at all. At this time, he was staring around vigilantly, looking for the enemy in the dark. This guy is very strong, but he's still much weaker than me. In the dark, Chi Ya, who used dark steps to hide, was observing Brigade Number 8, secretly analyzing, and then concluded result. That is, although the strength of the guy in front of him is strong, he is not too strong. However, this is only relative to Chi Ya. This guy is not as strong as Dad, but it will take some time for Dad to kill this guy. But the rewards they get are not equal, so they say uneconomical things. However, this is only for Dad. However, for Chi Ya, this is indeed a very simple matter. After this guy got hit by himself because of his slack, the assassination could basically be announced as an end. Without continuing to hide, Chi Ya stepped out of the darkness openly. Children. Brigade Number 8, who was vigilant about his surroundings, was startled when he saw Chi Ya coming out of the darkness, with an expression of disbelief. But, immediately, his face changed immediately, and he stared at Chi Ya firmly, extremely vigilant, and his whole body was on extreme alert. This kid was able to hide from his perception, sneaked up to his side and assassinated him. If it wasn't for his quick reaction, he might have been killed by the blow just now. My name is Chi Ya Zoldyck. I am a killer. I am here to take your life this time. Looking at Number 8 of the brigade who was staring at her vigilantly, Chi Ya looked relaxed and freehand, even with a faint smile, said to him, without any fighting posture. The words were full of contempt for Brigade Number 8. It's from the Zoldyck family. You guys, don't get carried away. After hearing Chi Ya's words, Number 8 of the brigade was stunned for a moment, and then seeing Chi Ya's gesture, Brigade No 8 Feet's face darkened, and a burst of anger rushed straight to his forehead. Is this guy looking down on me with such a gesture? The thoughts all over his body surged, and a powerful aura shot up into the sky in an instant, sweeping out towards the surroundings. The walls and ceiling of the corridor were overwhelmed by this powerful thought, covered with cracks, and instantly on the verge of collapse. Stinky boy, die for me. With a roar, Number 8 of the brigade was about to attack Chi Ya. However, the next moment, he was stunned, the powerful thoughts disappeared in an instant, bright blood flashed across his eyes, and Number 8 of the brigade tightly covered his neck with his hands, but the blood was still there. Constant gushing. How come? How come? With the unbelievable voice of Brigade Number 8 fell to his knees directly on the ground, blood gushed out quickly, and the ground was dyed red in the blink of an eye. Do you think you're some okay? Seeing the unbelievable expression of Brigade Number 8, Chi Ya swung the realized knife, smiled faintly, and mocked with disdain. His enhancer Nen has reached a very high level of cultivation. How could the damage caused by this level of enhancer weapon be resisted by a person who is not an enhancer? This guy doesn't have the terrible defensive physique of the Warcraft overlord like Sam-ok, and his cultivation is not at home. The weapon enhanced by the extremely profound enhancer, coupled with Chi Ya's thunder power and the space imprint branded after the successful attack. With the joint efforts of the three, Chi Ya cleaned up this guy with one move. It would be impossible for someone else to do it. This is also the result of Brigade No 8 Feet's underestimation of the enemy. Brigade Number 8 is very powerful, which can be seen from the burst of aura that directly hit the 10-meter high ceiling with cracks and was on the verge of collapse. If he was a little more vigilant, this guy would not be attacked by Chi Ya or planted a mark by Chi Ya, thus giving Chi Ya an opportunity to take advantage of it. Damn it. Turning around and looking at Chi Ya behind him, Brigade No 8 Feet's eyes were about to burst, and he was holding on to gather all the energy in his body, ready to fight to the death. Even if he dies, he will drag Chi Ya to die with him. With this thought in mind, Brigade Number 8 gathered all his energy towards the palm of his hand at an extremely fast speed, ready to strike Chi Ya with all his strength. But is it possible? Chi Ya is not one of those brainless villains. When facing the enemy, be so sloppy, and then give the enemy a chance to come back. Although this guy's throat was cut by himself, who knows if his Nen has the ability to heal, so just in case, Chi Ya didn't give Brigade Number 8 a chance at all. Squeak. The sound of thunder sounded, and a gun of thunder condensed in Chi-Ya's hand. With a wave of Chi-Ya's hand, the gun of thunder sank into the chest of Brigade Number 8, piercing his heart, and then, the gun of thunder the gun exploded, enveloping Brigade Number 8. Boom. With a bang, and in just 10 seconds, member Number 8 of the A-level criminal group Phantom Troop fell into the hands of Chi-Ya. Mission completed. Ding. Congratulations to the host for killing Nen Master Yixin and getting 1123 enhancement points. With 1123 enhancement points, plus Chi-Ya's previous remaining 2,530 points, Chi-Ya's enhancement points once again broke through the 3,000 skills, reaching 3,653 points. One brigade member provided me with so many reinforcement points. One or two more and I'll be able to reinforce again. Do you want to hunt down the members of the brigade? Huh. Chi-Ya, who was thinking about it, was suddenly taken aback, and his eyes shifted quickly, looking towards the dark corner not far away. The next moment, a petite figure appeared around the corner. Seeing this figure, Chi-Ya was taken aback for a moment, and then the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. It really means that Cao Cao is here. I was just thinking about the members of the brigade, and then I met. The visitor was none other than Maki, the third member of the brigade who had left before. Maki was attracted by Yixin's outburst of thoughts, knowing that something must have happened to Yixin's side. Although he hates Yixin, but Yixin is a member of the brigade after all, so Maki can't just sit idly by. After realizing that Yixin might be in trouble, or even in danger, Maki immediately returned here the same way. But Maki didn't expect that as soon as he arrived here, he saw Yixin lying in a pool of blood, and he was stunned. How is that possible? Maki murmured in shock. It's only been a dozen seconds since the burst of thought energy in one mind, and it has turned into this appearance. Children. Immediately, Maki's attention was attracted by Chi-Ya standing next to Yixin's corpse. Who are you? After seeing Chi-Ya, Maki was stunned for a moment, and then immediately unleashed his nen. A slender silk thread appeared in Maki's hand, and a silver needle was tightly squeezed in his hand, facing Chi-Ya question. Although it was a question, Maki did not act rashly. Maki will not despise Chi-Ya just because Chi-Ya is a child. Although I really don't want to say that, Yixin's strength is also one of the best in the brigade. There are 11 people in the brigade, and they can rank among the top 5 with all their heart. But he died so easily, and the culprit was obviously the child in front of him. Faced with such an existence that can kill Yixin in such a short period of time, Maki is despised when his brain is flooded. On the opposite side, Chi-Ya was surprised for a few seconds after seeing Maki. The idea of hunting down the members of the brigade that had just arisen reached its peak at this moment. However, Chi-Ya didn't do anything. Instead, he calmed down quickly. Although there are a lot of enhancement points obtained by killing Nen Masters, Chi-Ya was not dazzled by the huge enhancement points. It's just killing one, and it's still within the acceptable range, but even so, it will still be regarded as an enemy by Phantom Troop and will be retaliated by Phantom Troop. But if the Phantom Troop is hunted, then it will be an endless ending. At that time, Chi-Ya will face all members of Phantom Troop. Chi-Ya thinks that one-on-one, or even one-on-one can deal with any 3 people except the leader Crollo. But against the entire Phantom Troop, it is somewhat powerless. Let's forget it. With this in mind, Chi-Ya gave up the idea of doing something to Maki. Glancing at Maki who was facing an enemy, Chi-Ya shook his head slightly, then his body swayed slightly, and fell into the darkness under Maki's vigilant eyes. Only Maki was left on guard, and Chi-Ya quickly hid in the darkness and left here. 2 days later. Dry Mountain. Have you completed the task? Among the Zoldyck family, Silva looked at Chi-Ya in front of him with a very indifferent expression. Ah, done. Kill with one blow. The reward for the mission is 5 billion ringgits, and it will be credited to my card. I'll go first, Dad. Chi-Ya said leisurely, completely unaware of how shocking Silva's ears were by what she said. After speaking, he left. One-shot kill. Watching Chi-Ya's figure leave, Silva's expression remained silent, not knowing what he was thinking. A few minutes later, Silva sighed leisurely. What am I worrying about? That kid can kill even Samo K, so what's so surprising about killing a member of Phantom Troop? Shaking his head slightly, Silva said amusedly. However, Chi-Ya's strength has improved too fast. It is estimated that in 1 or 2 years, he will bring up that matter. Forget it. It's a blessing or a disaster, and it's a disaster that can't be avoided. I hope Chi-Ya can be sure. After all, that guy exists in the dark. A trace of worry flashed across Silva's face, but he put it down immediately. Silva, we have a mission. This time, the employer has appointed the 2 of us to do it together. At this moment, the room was opened, and Geno's figure appeared outside, and said to Silva. I see, father. On the other side, Sky Arena. In a luxurious room, Maki ushered in a special friend. This is a young man in a suit with a mild face and a white gauze tied on his head. This young man is none other than the leader of Phantom Troop, Crollo Lucifer. His attire is exactly the same as in the original book when he appeared in Yukishin City. It can be seen that this guy seems to like to dress like this in normal times. You mean, a silver-haired kid killed that guy Yixin within 10 seconds, and then disappeared into the dark? After listening to Maki's narration, Crollo repeated. Well, the age is about 8 or 9 years old, but the strength is extremely strong. Standing in front of him, I can feel a very strong sense of crisis. Also, at that time, that kid had killing intent on me, but in the end, for some unknown reason, he didn't make a move, and left in hiding. However, I know that once he shoots at me, I will never survive. Maki's face was a little gloomy, and his heart was palpitating. At that time, if Chi-Ya shot at her, she would have absolutely no chance of surviving. At the same time, Maki is also very curious about Chi-Ya. Curious why Chi-Ya has such terrifying power at such a young age. I know about this matter, and I will investigate. Some time ago, I saw the assassination mission about Yixin on the dark web. I checked it just now, and the assassination mission of Yixin has been cancelled. It should be a professional killer. I'll find out about this matter, but now, I have another thing to do. Maki, the assembly order is issued, it's time for the spiders to gather. Crollo's expression was very calm, his eyes flickered slightly, facing Maki ordered. I understand, Commander. Maki heard the words and responded. Yeah. Crollo nodded, and then left the place. On the other side, after Chi-Ya came out of Silva's room, she went straight to the family's library. Didi. The phone in his pocket rang, and Chi-Ya took it out to check, only to see the message that the reward had arrived. It's another $5 billion, the money from the killer is so fast. Looking at the message on the phone, Chi-Ya sighed slightly. Chi-Ya has already saved a large amount of property after several years of career as a killer. Chi-Ya is not the Chi-Ya in the original book. She spends a lot of money, and the rewards she gets every time are quickly spent. When you need money, you can't make up a few bucks all over your body. So much so that when they needed the Island of Greed, they simply couldn't afford to auction it off. It can only be reduced to the point of working for the rich man Batra before getting mixed into the Island of Greed. Chi-Ya's current property value is 52.3 billion. This is the reward Chi-Ya has received for the assassination missions in the past few years. Chi-Ya doesn't have anything she needs, so she saves everything. Speaking of which, the rich man Bartra seems to have always wanted to obtain the Archangel's breath card from Greed Island to heal his young lover. I happen to have the breathing ability of an Archangel, do you want to make a fortune? That guy almost broke his fortune for his young lover, and even offered a sky-high price of 50 billion, just to get a piece of the breath of an Archangel. However, in the original book, a few days before J. Free CSS and the others cleared the customs, this guy's lover passed away, and the rich man Batra also had no love in his life. This guy is also an infatuated kind. Go and fulfill his wish next time you have free time. Of course, the necessary rewards are still required. However, for now, I'd better find the next spawn point first. I'll talk about Batra's matter later. Anyway, his lover is still far from death. Thinking silently, Chi-Ya also came to the door of the library, pushed the door open, and Chi-Ya walked in. And in a place far away from Kukulu Mountain, in a luxurious manner. The rich man Batra was standing quietly in a gorgeously decorated room, looking at the sleeping beauty in front of him. If Bartra knows that Chi-Ya has the breathing ability of an Archangel, he will definitely come to find Chi-Ya desperately. With his infatuation, the probability is almost 100%. However, it's a pity that this guy doesn't know, so he will continue to suffer from this lovesickness. When Chi-Ya is free, remember, when he will be free from the pain of lovesickness. Time passed quickly, and in a flash, 3 days passed. During the past 3 days, Chi-Ya has been in the library, not coming out, forgetting to eat and sleep, looking for information on various secret realms. However, the result made Chi-Ya very disappointed. What's the matter? Apart from the wetland of Wetmele, there are no other secret realms or demonic realms with more monsters. Among the piles of books, Chi-Ya looked up a little decadently, and said with a look of lovelessness. After spending so much time looking for these days, I didn't find a useful spot to spawn monsters. It's not that there are no secret realms with a large number of monsters besides the Wetmele wetland. But these demonic realms and secret realms have all been developed. The powerful monsters inside were almost killed. Only some little ones are left, and it's all because of one person. Kim Free CSS, are you a productive sow? 1 a year. Chi-ya cursed a certain Tsunere uncle viciously. And the uncle Tsunere, who was far away in a certain secret place, sneezed for no reason at this time. I don't have a cold either. Uncle Tsunere rubbed his nose and read in confusion. With his physique, colds basically do not exist. Is that old urchin from Netero talking about me, or that Polystone guy? Back to Chi-ya. Chi-ya closed the book with a dejected expression, and then rubbed her red eyes. Forget it. I'm just a little guy. No matter how small a mosquito is, it's still meat. If you put together a few secret realms, you can get some. Chi-ya made a decision helplessly. Although the powerful monsters in the magic realm and the secret realm have all been cleared away, leaving only a few little ones, in Chi-ya's own opinion, but all of them add up to a very considerable strengthening point. Just take a few more trips by yourself. And at this moment, the ethereal voice of the system suddenly sounded in Chi-ya's mind. Ding. Ding. Mission reminder. May I ask the host if he has received it? The ethereal voice of the system echoed in Chi-ya's mind, making Chi-ya slightly taken aback when he was about to leave the library. Mission triggered? System, do you have a mission? Ding. As a system, it is not surprising to release tasks. May I ask the host if he will accept the task? The system quickly responded to Chi-ya's doubts and gave the answer. You're right, I'm speechless. With such an answer, Chi-ya nodded slightly in bewilderment. Indeed, as a system, posting tasks is indeed normal operation. The reason why I feel abnormal is nothing more than because the system emphasized that his role is mainly strengthening, and did not introduce other functions, so Chi-ya has the illusion that the system has no tasks. Maybe, in addition to strengthening and tasks, the system has other different functions. System, besides these two functions, do you have any other functions? Chi-ya asked after being dazed for a moment. Ding. Please trigger the host by itself. Chi-ya was speechless after hearing such a salty answer from the system. Immediately, Chi-ya did not continue to ask. The attitude of the system is already very clear, it will not answer Chi-ya. Let Chi-ya trigger the new function by itself. However, Chi-ya is also somewhat confused about the triggering of this new function. I have been reading in the library for the past 3 days without doing anything else. How could the task function be triggered suddenly? This time, although Chi-ya didn't ask, the system quickly gave an answer. For details, please refer to the task template. Hearing this, Chi-ya nodded slightly, her consciousness sank into her mind, and she looked at the new page that appeared in her mind. There is still a blue page with more than a dozen lines of fonts flashing on it. Task template quest name, Zoldyck Patriarch. Task introduction. As the future owner of Zoldyck, the host must establish a force that belongs exclusively to the host. Ask the host to go to the hidden place of the Karuta tribe, rescue the survivors of the Karuta tribe from Phantom Troop, and successfully recruit survivors. Task reward. 5,000 strengthening points, 1 chance to awaken the Nen system. There is also a line of numbers below the task column, letting Chi-ya know why he will trigger the task function. This task function was triggered long ago, shortly after Chi-ya browsed the dark web and saw the information about the Karuta tribe's hermitage. However, at that time, Chi-ya fell into a deep sleep after a lot of practice, and the system did not disturb Chi-ya during Chi-ya's sleep, but released the task silently. The system didn't mention it after that, and it didn't mention it again until now, so Chi-ya didn't know until now. However, power? Indeed, it is time for me to prepare for this aspect. In the Zoldyck family, the stewards are not counted. These belong to the entire Zoldyck family. In addition, the family heads of each generation have their own power, or will develop their own forces in the future. Zipo Nian and Yama Yin belong to the current patriarch, that is, members of Chi-ya's father Silva's exclusive elite unit. Of course, the situation of Yamayan is a bit special. Last year, Chi-ya asked Silva to come over, not counting those housekeepers. Yamayan is now Chi-ya's only force and subordinate. Phantom Troop? I have a close relationship with this organization. I just killed Brigade 8 a few days ago, but this time it triggers the quest to take food from the Phantom Troop. I remember that when Phantom Troop wiped out the Karuta tribe, most of the members were mobilized. This time it was different from the previous assassinations, and they had to face most of the brigade members. However, this time there is no need for a head-on collision, as long as the surviving Karuta people are taken away. Although the difficulty is high, it is not impossible. That's right, Chi-ya is ready to take on this task. The Karuta people with fiery red eyes have special physiques, and they are born to cultivate Nen. Moreover, the Karuta people with red eyes are all Nen people with special traits, and they have strange and powerful strengths. Just like Kurapika, after opening Fire Red Eye, he obtained the special Nen system, thus obtained the Nen attributes of the 5 major systems, and was able to practice and exert 100% of the abilities of the 5 major systems. Each of the Karuta people with fiery red eyes has a potential talent of the trait system. Such a group of people, as long as they can be accepted as subordinates, after training, they will definitely be a very huge force. As for how to accept him as a subordinate, this point is very simple. Repaying favors, although it sounds mean, but in fact it is not at all. The task of the system is to let Chiya rescue the survivors, which means that these people are all weak Karuta tribesmen who were forced to escape under the cover of other powerful tribesmen. According to the description of Kurapika in the original book, although the Karuta people have a gentle personality, they are sometimes very extreme and jealous. The Karuta people who were exterminated by Phantom Troop and survived had an extremely strong hatred for Phantom Troop. Just like Kurapika, it was unforgettable, and they could even give up everything. But the strength of these survivors is not enough. Chiya rescued them, they will definitely be grateful to Chiya. When the time comes, Chiya only needs to teach them to become stronger so that they have the ability to revenge in the future, as an opportunity to offer an olive branch. These survivors will never say no, of course. These are just Chiya's conjectures, and it is still unknown what the real situation will be. But, what's the matter? Even if it fails, Chiya doesn't have any loss, at most it's a waste of time. If the task fails, Chiya will not be punished. On the contrary, if it succeeds, then Chiya can get a generous reward, 5,000 strengthening points and a chance to awaken the Nen system. Needless to say, the enhancement points, but the opportunity to awaken the Nen system is a very practical reward. Chiya now has 4 systems: Conjurer, Traits, Manipulator, Enhancer. The rest is after Emitter and Transmuter. These 2 systems are not necessary for the current Chiya. What Chiya really cares about is that the Nen system awakening opportunity. The awakened Nen system comes with Nen, and it can be used smoothly as long as you practice a little. Moreover, the awakened Nen should be very powerful. The last awakening directly gave Chiya the powerful Nen of space. Rescued Chiya directly twice in the Wetmele wetland. Chiya estimated that this time it should be similar. Also, if things don't go well, then Chiya is not the Holy Mother to confront Phantom Troop for the sake of the surviving Karuta tribe. Although he is now hostile to Phantom Troop. However, now, Chiya has a problem that bothers Chiya whether she should accept it or not. That is, he did not know the hermitage of the Karuta tribe. Although I saw it on the dark web before, Chiya was not sure if the address was real. Please rest assured, the host accepts the task, and the system will issue instructions to go to the hermitage of the Karuta tribe. At this moment, the system suddenly spoke. Chiya. You guy, did you already predict that I would accept the mission? This is the thought, Chiya directly recited silently. System, I have accepted this task. Ding. Congratulations to the host for accepting the task, Zoldyck Patriarch. Issuing mission instructions now. An airship landed slowly at the Donglai City Airport in the northern part of the CRIS United States. Not long after that, a large group of people came out of the airport in a mighty manner. Chiya was among this group of people. Because of the mission, Chiya didn't go to other spawning points, but accepted the mission and came here. According to the system's reminder, the hidden place of the Karuta tribe is in this country, which almost completely matches the clues in the dark net. According to the system's reminder, the Karuta people are now living in seclusion in the mountains outside Donglai City, living a life of indifference to the world. I just don't know if Phantom Troop has found the hermitage of the Shankaruta tribe. System, if the Karuta people were not exterminated by Phantom Troop when I arrived at their hermitage, what would happen to this mission? Chiya was very curious about this matter. The task of the system is to let Chiya rescue the survivors of the Karuta tribe. But if Chiya felt the people of Phantom Troop didn't arrive there in time and did something to the Karuta people, then how would this mission change? Cancel directly? Or is the mission changed? Host, you think too much. Since this system releases this task, it means that the matter is a foregone conclusion. No matter how you change it, it will not help. When this system reminds the host, the Karuta people have already been attacked by Phantom Troop. Now, Phantom Troop has breached the hermitage of the Karuta people, and the surviving Karuta people have begun to flee at this time, taking advantage of the natural hiding places in the mountains in the Talker Mountains outside Donglai City pursuit of Phantom Troop. Has the clan been exterminated? I don't know how many survivors there will be. However, system, you didn't issue the task of saving the Karuta tribe, but rescued the survivors. Your heart is really bad. Chiya murmured in a low voice, and then turned to the system with a strange tone. Said. This system has no heart. And, host, do you want to be a saint? Do you want to save all the Karuta people? Or, do you think that if you go to the Karuta tribe's hermitage ahead of time and tell them the news that Phantom Troop is about to attack them, their Karuta tribe will believe you for no reason. The ethereal voice of the system sounded again. As soon as these words came out, Chi-Ya was stunned. Chi-Ya heard the slightest difference from the ethereal voice of the system. It was a mocking tone. Indeed, she is not the Holy Mother. As a killer, Chi-Ya will not be so naive. Moreover, as the system said, even if Chi-Ya did this, if he wanted to take precautions and completely rescue the Karuta tribe, he might not be able to succeed. Shaking his head slightly, Chi-Ya didn't open his mouth to communicate with the system again. After all, Chi-Ya didn't have this kind of intention either. The reason why he opened his mouth to tease the system just now was only because of his own bad taste. After coming out of the airport, Chi-Ya stopped the taxi and drove towards the outside of the city. Outside Donglai City, the Tucker Mountains, this is the edge of the United Kingdom of Chris. The environment here is sinister and dangerous, and generally no one will come here at all. It is a very dangerous place for ordinary people, a forbidden place. However, it is incomparable with those forbidden places such as secret realms and demon realms. Although there are also monsters here, but there are only 3 or 2 kittens, and most of the rest are animals. Outside the dense forest, the taxi stopped slowly, and then a slender figure came down from it. After Chi-Ya got off the bus, the taxi quickly turned and left, not caring why Chi-Ya, a child, came here. Looking up at the mountains behind the forest, Chi-Ya sighed with emotion about the majestic mountains of the Taker Mountains. After the mountains were majestic, he walked into the forest. At the same time, outside Donglai City, on the road to the Tucker Mountains, the taxi that Chi-Ya was in just now drove past quickly, intersecting with a short figure. System. Can it detect the location of the survivors of the Karuta tribe? Chi-Ya asked silently in his mind while walking in the dense forest. It would be great if the system could give the location. It saves Chi-Ya to search slowly. Host, please don't be greedy, the system has already given instructions. It seemed that Chi-Ya was a bit pushy, and the tone of the system was no longer ethereal, but became cold. Hearing this, Chi-Ya shrugged slightly and didn't care. He also just tried it. No, it doesn't matter. Without asking the system again, Chi-Ya quickly shuttled through the forest and began to search without making a sound. On the other side, in the Tucker Mountains, there are currently 5 groups of people walking around. These 5 groups are none other than members of the Phantom Troop. They are Krollo and Paknoden respectively, Nobunaga, Maki, Phaeton, Finks, Franklin, Uvajan, Shalnark, Face Shadow. It's really an exciting battle. It's been a long time since I experienced such a fierce battle. Franklin and Uvajan walked in the forest, and Uvajan shouted excitedly. Rarely, Uvajan did not form a partner with his gay friend Nobunaga, but acted with Franklin, the peacemaker in the brigade. Indeed, these Karuta people are very powerful. Franklin calmly nodded in agreement. The angry Karuta people turned into fiery red eyes. Although their strength could not be compared with their own and others, they were still very powerful. Even for them, it took a lot of effort to kill the angry Karuta tribe. Each of them suffered a lot of injuries. He still has wounds on his body now. As for Uvajan next to him, this guy has punch marks all over his body, sunken into the muscles, and he can tell at a glance that he was hit by a very powerful attack and is seriously injured. But this guy is like a normal person, laughing and shouting. He really deserves to be an enhancer. However, while we were fighting those guys, some Karuta children were sent out undercover. The head of the group ordered that the surviving Karuta children must be found and killed to prevent the Karuta from resurging. Franklin continued. Cut. That's right. These mice are really good at hiding. They haven't been found after searching for so long. They are really angry. Uvajan's face sank when he heard this, and he said angrily, punching the big man beside him. On the tree, the big tree fell in response. However, right here, Uvajan suddenly saw something, and his eyes lit up. Is that guy one of those escaped survivors, Franklin? Uvajan said excitedly, pointing forward. It doesn't seem to be, but since it appears here at this time, let's kill it together. It's better to kill the wrong than to let go. Franklin said calmly, and the words he said revealed his cold and bloodthirsty character. Yaxi, haha, then it's up to me. Uvajan nodded when he heard the words, and then roared excitedly. He stepped on the ground and shattered the ground. He turned into a cannonball and shot forward. Out. Boom. In the dust, Franklin waved the dust away and shook his head helplessly. This place is really big. It has been several hours since we entered the Tucker Mountains, and the sun was almost setting, but Chi-Ya didn't find any clues in a daze. Even the hermitage of the Karuta people has not yet arrived, so it can be seen that the area of the Tucker Mountains is large. Those survivors hid deep enough that no trace can be seen. Chi-Ya said with some admiration as he walked and carefully observed everything around him, looking for traces of the Karuta tribe as much as possible. As the killer of the Zoldyck family, although Chi-Ya's tracking skills are not full, they are still very strong. But Chi-Ya couldn't find any useful clues. This virtually demonstrates the powerful concealment ability of the Karuta people. It is indeed a race that can survive for hundreds of years without extinction after the Red Eye has become the world's 7 beauties. However, at this moment, Chi-Ya, who was observing the surroundings, had a flash of light in his eyes, and then, a rough voice came from Chi-Ya's ear. A powerful momentum followed to suppress Chi-Ya. Chi-Ya frowned slightly and looked up. I didn't expect to meet Phantom Troop. Seeing the menacing tall figure, Chi-Ya muttered to himself. Afterwards, Chi-Ya released Nian Qi without hesitation, gathered it in her hands, and stretched out her immature hands towards the tall figure rushing towards her. Huh. Uvajin, who was in the middle of the explosion, was stunned when he saw Chi-Ya's actions, but the next moment, he laughed loudly. Haha, interesting, die. There was excitement and cruelty in Uvajin's eyes. He was very surprised that Chi-Ya dared to resist, but at the same time, Chi-Ya's resistance also made him more excited. He loves nothing more than to drive a defiant opponent to despair, smashing them to pieces with his mighty fists. Without Nen Qi, for Uvajin, Chi-Ya is just a little kid with no power to restrain a chicken, and there is no need for him to use Nen to attack. However, it was this little boy who was not looked down upon by Uvajin, but made Uvajin, a rough man with a thick heart, a tiger in his heart, and a rose-sniffing boss, turn over a big somersault. In Uvajin's excited expression, his big rough hand clashed with Chi-Ya's fist. However, at the moment they met, Uvajin's expression suddenly changed. Careless. With this thought, Uvajin's fist became twisted, and the blood flowed wildly, and his body exploded back like a cannonball. Franklin, who was walking slowly behind him, was taken aback when he saw this scene, and then he activated his mind without hesitation, ran out quickly, and caught Uvajin. Even with Franklin's shot, they still couldn't catch Uvajin. With a muffled sound, the two of them slid back for more than 10 meters, and then rolled a few times on the ground before stopping. After stopping, Franklin looked at Uvajin's bloody fist and said with an ugly face, Uvajin, you are careless. Ah, I was careless. I saw it was a kid, so I let down my vigilance, but I didn't expect it to be a big fish. Uvajin stood up, his left fist was bloody, and bones protruded. However, he didn't care. At this moment, his eyes were filled with faint thoughts, and he was staring at the petite figure tens of meters away, but his expression was extremely excited. He didn't use Ning just now, so he didn't see the incomparably strong and powerful mind energy on Chi-Ya's fist at all, so he was directly injured, and the fist in his left hand could no longer be used. This little brat, Nian Qi, is so gazing, he is a master and should not be underestimated. Franklin also used Ning at this time, staring at Chi-Ya. After using the condensate, he saw the incomparably tough and powerful mind energy wrapped around Chi-Ya's body, and his expression was extremely dignified. Indeed, that mind energy belongs to the enhancer, and it's comparable to mine. Uvajin nodded excitedly, his eyes flickering with hunting. None of the Karuta survivors mattered anymore. This is a rare enhancer Nen who has the same system as himself and has cultivated to this level. He couldn't let go of anything else in his heart at this time, he just wanted to hunt the prey in front of him. Franklin, who was behind him, looked at Uvajin's injured left hand, and took a step forward, ready to follow suit. But Uvajin stopped him with his hand, and Uvajin excitedly stopped him. Falan, don't make a move, leave this kid to me. Can you do it? Franklin said flatly. Haha, leave it to me. It's hard to meet a guy who is like me and has cultivated the enhancer Nian Qi to this level. I will never allow you to intervene. Uvajin grinned and laughed. I see. Franklin was silent for a moment, then walked behind. He was looking for a spot to watch the battle. The enhancer's combat destructive power is too great, and it is easy to be drawn into the battlefield of both sides here, and Franklin doesn't want to be beaten. I didn't intend to face you head-on, but it seems that the sky has not fulfilled my wish. In front of the two, Chi-Ya at this moment was slightly helpless and said with a sigh. He came here this time with the intention of avoiding it if he could. After all, he knew that all the members of the Phantom Troop were dispatched together this time. In other words, there were more than 10 Phantom Troops in the Tucker Mountains Nen Masters, they are a team. With Chi-Ya's strength, it's okay to fight 2 or 3, but it's not good if there are too many, and he will be beaten. But I didn't expect to meet the members of Phantom Troop so soon. However, since they met, and they were the first to strike, let's start the war. Judging by the behavior of the big guy opposite, he didn't look like he would let himself go. Although I don't want to collide with the brigade for the time being, Chi-Ya is not a follower, and she doesn't fight back when her opponent comes up. This big guy who took the initiative, Chi-Ya said, he must be beaten severely, and if possible, he would be killed directly. This is Bai Wawa's strengthening point. Moreover, even if he can't beat him, he can retreat at any time. Chi Ya said that the ability to have space is convenient. Boy, I didn't expect that you were also an enhancer cultivator, and it's great that you have cultivated to this level. The sound of heavy footsteps came. Uvijin clenched his fist with his right hand, and his rough body stepped heavily on the ground. Walking towards Chi Ya, he spoke. You're not bad either, big guy. Enhancer has cultivated to this level. You can rank high in this world. Chi Ya heard this, shrugged, and praised with a light smile. I have to say, Uvijin is one of the most famous in this world for his achievements in Enhancer. Even if it is an opponent, an enemy, Chi Ya will not hesitate to praise him when he meets this kind of person. Haha, I'll accept your compliment. Then, let's get started, brat. Uvijin grinned when he heard this, and then his face darkened. The next moment, he took a big step and rushed towards Chi Ya quickly. Boom. A huge roar resounded through the mountains and forests, and in the center of the battlefield, two figures kept flickering, fighting quickly and fiercely. The huge roar brought about by the collision of fists and feet continued to spread. A powerful aura formed in the center of the battlefield, and the entire battlefield became a vacuum under the powerful aura of the two people. The scarlet and blue air currents entangled with each other, fought, soared into the sky, and spread towards the surroundings at a speed visible to the naked eye. The fallen leaves fell, and a scarlet airflow passed by, instantly turning the fallen leaves into ashes. Haha, that's great, that's how it should be. Such a fist-to-flesh fight is the romance of a man. Uvijin roared excitedly as the rough fists continued to blast out. This is the most exciting battle he has encountered since he practiced Nian Qi. In the past, the enemies he encountered that could make him go all out were enemies from other systems, and it was impossible to make him so dedicated like today. Even Nobunaga is the same. There are no fancy nen, only the pleasure of punching and kicking. Chi Ya is the most exciting opponent he has ever met in his life. It's the first time I've seen this guy Uvijin so excited. Who is that kid on the other side? Such a piss has such strength. In the distance, Franklin looked at the two people on the battlefield, his face changed slightly. This guy deserves to be the one in the original book who has cultivated the enhancer to the level of pure jealousy, invulnerability, and invulnerability to rockets. This kind of defense, although not comparable to that of Sam Ok's big guy, is still very close. I can't break it simply with the cultivation of enhancer. Both attack and defense are top-notch. In the original book, if Kurapika hadn't used chains to forcibly put him in the absolute state, it would be impossible to kill him. When confronting Uvijin head-on, Chi Ya thought silently. Even if Kurapika has cultivated 100% enhancer Nian Qi, it can't break his defense. Worthy of being the #1 martial arts faction in the brigade. With this kind of strength, it can at least rank 3rd in the brigade. The Nian Qi of the enhancer is comparable to mine. I can't defeat or even kill me in a short period of time by relying on the enhancer alone. I have to use the abilities of other systems. Silently analyzing, Chi Ya came up with in conclusion. That is, if I want to defeat Uvijin as quickly as possible, then I can't just rely on the enhancer's cultivation base to fight, and I must use the Nen of the Chi Ya system together. Besides, it has been a few minutes since the battle started. The other brigade members must have discovered what's going on here, and it must be resolved quickly. With this in mind, Chi Ya's whole body was filled with thoughts and thunderburst, and he instantly entered a state of super speed. Crackling. With a bang, Chi Ya's speed increased sharply. Uvijin, who was attacking, and Franklin, who was watching the battle from a distance, shrank their pupils. They didn't expect that Chi Ya was actually hiding his clumsiness when fighting with himself, Uvijin, and that the hidden power was even more terrifying than the enhancer's cultivation level. Wrapped around Chi Ya's body, the continuously dancing thundersnake exudes a terrifying and destructive aura. This guy, he was hiding just now. Accompanied by this thought, Uvijin, who was on the offensive, had no time to react. Before being able to defend himself, he was punched heavily in the abdomen, and the powerful destructive power of the thunder instantly spread throughout his body. A mouthful of blood spurted out, and Uvijin shot out like a cannonball, setting off a cloud of sonic boom. Boom. With a loud noise, Uvijin fell into the mountain. The chain reaction brought by the huge force directly caused the mountain to collapse, and Uvijin was directly buried in it. While you are sick, I will kill you. Chi Ya had no intention of recovering Uvijin at all. The faint blue thunder flickered, and his figure flashed quickly. Chi Ya appeared above the collapsed mountain. He raised his right hand high, and a powerful thunder quickly condensed in the palm of his hand. The terrifying momentum vibrated, and the surrounding space seemed to become viscous at this moment. Uvijin's defense is indeed very strong, but there is still some distance compared with Sam Ok. When fighting with Sam Ok in the depths of the wetland before, Chi Ya really couldn't quickly break through Sam Ok's defense. But that is Sam Ok. Uvajin can't compare with Samo-K. Moreover, Chi-Ya's current Nyan Chi cultivation has become much stronger after being strengthened, and the enhancer's cultivation has doubled Chi-Ya's physique and strength, reached a very advanced level. With the increase of the enhancer, the power of Chi-Ya's conjurer Nen's speed, thunder has become extremely terrifying. Chi-Ya is sure that without all-out defense, Uvajin was really hit by his blow, so there must be a danger of falling. This point, Franklin is also so sure. He can feel the terrifying power from the lightning in Chi-Ya's hand, even with Uvajin's physique, although he has confidence in Uvajin, but the lightning in Chi-Ya's hand gives him the feeling as too terrifying, he dare not bet. So, he immediately started to act, regardless of Uvajin's orders not to make a move. The fingers of both hands were broken, the 10 fingers were hollow, and the thought energy was condensed, and small thought energy bombs were fired quickly, covering Chi-Ya. While launching, Franklin ran towards Chi-Ya at the fastest speed. That huge body didn't look clumsy at all, but was extremely fast. Half the distance had already been crossed in the blink of an eye. Franklin didn't want to force Chi-Ya back with this attack, but wanted to stop Chi-Ya's attack from falling, even for a second. However, facing Franklin's menacing attack, Chi-Ya completely ignored it. The lightning all over his body suddenly spread, forming a defensive circle of lightning, and then he didn't care. The right hand that was raised high was also charged to the extreme at this moment. Chi-Ya swung it down without stopping. The deep mountains and wild forests, the entire Taker Mountains are majestic, quiet and peaceful, like a sleeping giant. At this moment, a huge explosion sounded, echoing throughout the entire mountain range. This explosion sound is like a switch. Once it is turned on, there is no tendency to stop. One explosion sound after another is continuously transmitted. At this moment, the entire mountain range was completely in turmoil. Countless birds and beasts rushed to escape from the place where the explosion sound came from, scattered in all directions, and ran for their lives at high speed. The 4 groups of men and horses walking in the mountains also heard the movement, raised their heads one after another, and looked in the direction of the explosion. Among them, in a group of people, a young man with a handsome and elegant appearance but combing his hair in a suit and wearing a black coat. After hearing this movement, a bright light flashed in his eyes. It seems that someone has found it. Pike, let's go. Krollo said to the royal sister Paknoten beside him. Yes, Captain. Paknoten replied. The two quickly ran towards the direction of the sound. Apart from this group of people, several other groups of people also made the same decision by coincidence, and rushed towards the battlefield where Uvajin and Chi-Ya were fighting. And in the mountains, in a cave that is unusually hidden and almost no one can find it, several slender and short figures dressed in the unique costumes of the Kuruda tribe are hiding in it. These are the surviving members of the Kuruda tribe, and they are all young boys and girls. One of the oldest teenagers seemed to be about 11 or 12 years old, the others were 1 or 2 years younger than him, and the youngest was a little lowly who looked only about 8 years old and had 2 braids. After the huge explosion sounded, the survivors of these Kuruda people were startled, and then the oldest boy spoke to the youngest little lowly. Cole, use your ability to see what's going on outside. Yes, brother Tall. Hearing this, little Lolita nodded heavily and agreed. Afterwards, faint thoughts began to emanate from his body, and as soon as these thoughts appeared, they quickly rushed towards his eyes. The next moment, little Lolita looked at the rock wall of the cave. Immediately, a clear picture appeared on the mountain wall following little Lolita's gaze. Like a virtual screen, the picture on the mountain wall is a movie, and the eyes of little Loli are a projector. This little Loli is the only natural awakener of the Kuruda tribe, and she awakened Nen not long after she was born. And her Nen are her eyes. As long as she has seen people with her eyes, she can share her vision silently. No one can find out that their vision is being shared. It is a very heaven-defying ability in investigation. Of course, it is also a very wretched ability in some respects. This ability against the sky is also limited. Once people know the existence of its ability, then this ability will become invalid immediately. Can no longer play a role in the insider, however, who would tell others about his abilities? Therefore, this ability can be said to have almost no weaknesses in this field. At this time, the picture that appeared on the mountain wall was nothing but the scene of Chi-Ya fighting Uvajin. The owner of little Lolita's shared vision at this time is none other than Franklin. It's so strong, it's even possible to draw with this monster. As soon as the picture appeared, the survivors of the Kuruda clan, the oldest boy, murmured in shock. The pupils of the others also dilated, unbelievable. They all saw with their own eyes that the elders of the clan were suppressed and beaten until they vomited blood. Unexpectedly, Chi-Ya, a kid who was about the same age as them, could beat the monster Uvajin to such an extent. However, immediately, the faces of these survivors darkened, and each of them sighed. Everyone felt sorry for Chi-Ya. Even if Chiya can draw with this monster, so what? They all know that there are many powerful friends around Uvajin. The owner of this vision is a powerful existence, not to mention there are several other powerful demons. Chiya alone is absolutely impossible to be their opponent. There is only one result waiting for Chiya. That is death. Died under the siege of the group of demons. However, at this moment, they suddenly saw the picture change. Chiya, who was originally evenly matched with Uvajin, suddenly changed. He was covered by lightning, and then his figure flashed, directly injuring Uvajin, who was shocked by Chiya's change. The scene of Uvajin's huge body smashing heavily into the mountain made all the Karuta survivors present breathless. This guy is so strong, even stronger than that monster. Kill him. Kill him. Seeing the scene of Chiya appearing on the mountain and raising his right hand high up, several teenagers immediately muttered excitedly. For these enemies, they hated them to the bone, and their hatred was as deep as the sea. Seeing this kind of scene, how could they not be excited? Even if there is only one, they hope that Chiya can kill their enemy Uvajin, so that the spirit of their people in the sky can rest in peace. However, the next moment, their faces suddenly changed, and they darkened again. Damn it. These guys have arrived so quickly. The oldest boy gritted his teeth, with blood oozing from the corner of his mouth, and growled unwillingly. Die. The thunder in his hand had been condensed to the extreme, and Chiya swung it down fiercely with an indifferent expression. However, at the moment Chiya swung this blow, Chiya's expression changed wildly. The thunder that should have landed on the collapsed mountain spread out in an instant, colliding with attacks from all directions. Immediately afterwards, Chiya's figure also turned into a bolt of lightning, appearing tens of meters away in an instant. Has it come already? Boom. Are you a step too late? Chiya, whose body flickered, came tens of meters away, and looked at the 7 or 8 figures in the distance in the gunpowder smoke, and said lightly. He was going to kill Uvajin just now, and Chiya is sure that under the thunderous blow of the condensed powerful conjurer, it will definitely be a fatal blow to Uvajin, who has been severely injured by himself. Take a step back. If not kill Uvajin, Uvajin can be seriously wounded and dying. However, Chiya was one step slower after all. Not only Franklin made a move, but even other members of Phantom Troop rushed here. What should I do next? Retreat directly. Chiya narrowed his eyes slightly, thinking silently. Chiya doesn't want to fight against the entire Phantom Troop. Although his current strength is already a master of Nen, it is not enough to support him to fight against the entire Phantom Troop. This is why he would let off Maki, who had nothing to do with the mission in Sky Arena before. This time, if Uvajin didn't attack him, Chiya would not have planned to fight him. And just as Chiya was meditating, in the gunpowder opposite. Hey, Uvajin, you're right inside, come out soon. Nobunaga Hachama squatted beside the collapsed mountain, knocked on the mountain, and shouted faintly. Boom. With a bang, a big hand broke through the soil and stretched out from the buried mountain. Afterwards, a tall figure broke through the ground. The figure of Uvajin appeared in front of everyone in the brigade. At this time, Uvajin was in a state of embarrassment, with a small gap in his abdomen, his body was scorched black, and his hedgehog head turned into an exploding head. From time to time, an electric arc sprang out from his body, making a squeaky sound. Upon appearing, Uvajin sat down on the ground. Seeing this scene, everyone in the brigade had different expressions. Hey, Uvajin, it's too low to be beaten like this by a brat. Nobunaga looked at Uvajin and said lightly. Haha, you're right, Uvajin. I really didn't expect you to be defeated by a brat, and the title of the brigade's #1 fighter is crying. Finks also laughed and joked. Trash. Phaeton, who was indifferent and reticent, glanced at Uvajin sideways and said disdainfully. Wow. At this moment, Uvajin spat out a mouthful of blood. This time, the brigade group stopped ridiculing. Ha, ha. Uvajin gasped heavily, blood overflowing from time to time. That guy actually has 2 Nen attributes, not only 100% cultivated except Enhancer, but also 100% cultivated other systems. Under Chiya's thunder attack, Uvajin knew very well that Chiya's thunder's Nen practiced was even more terrifying than Enhancer. Enhancer played on par with himself, but when the thunder came out, he directly injured himself seriously. This means that Chiya has Nen of other systems, and is 100% cultivated, and the degree of cultivation is even more terrifying than Enhancer. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the brigade frowned. The difference between the Nen system and everyone present are naturally very familiar with it. There are many systems that everyone can cultivate, but only one can cultivate to 100%. This is an unchanging fact. When they saw Chiya attacking with Thunderbolt just now, they thought Chiya was a conjurer or even a transmuter Nen, but they didn't expect to get this information from Uvajin. Chi Ya can actually cultivate the two systems to 100%. Something unheard of. Interesting. Crollo Lucifer twitched his mouth slightly, showing great interest in Chi Ya. His nen is ready to move, and has the desire to steal Chi Ya's nen. During the communication between the members of the brigade, the gunpowder smoke also began to dissipate, and everyone in the brigade was exposed from the smoke. Captain, this person is the guy who killed Yixin before. He didn't see it too clearly before, but now that he saw Chi Ya again, Maki immediately recognized Chi Ya's identity at a glance, and couldn't help walking to Crollo's beside, reminded Crollo. Hey. It's really a narrow road to Yuanja. Crollo was surprised when he heard this, and said with a faint smile. Indeed, I and you Phantom Troop are indeed close friends. Chi Ya, who was opposite, said with a faint smile after hearing this. Can we stop here? I don't want to confront your brigade. Chi Ya said in a negotiating tone. Indifferent, not weak at all. You killed one of our members, and now you wounded another member. You want to make peace with me now? Do you think it's possible? Chi Ya's words sounded ridiculous to Crollo's ears. This is simply impossible. Even though Crollo still had a faint smile on his face, his eyes flickered slightly, and a faint killing intent spread out, covering Chi Ya. Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking for peace, I just don't want to conflict with you. Chi Ya heard this, smiled lightly, shook his head and denied. He's not asking for peace. Although Phantom Troop is strong, there is no need to make Chi Ya move from his heart. Although he can't fight now, he can leave at any time. Moreover, if you can't beat them now, in a few years, Chi Ya will be able to smash them one by one. In this situation, how could Chi Ya lower his posture to seek peace with the brigade? Daydreaming. You killed our companion, and you actually told me that you don't want to conflict with us. Maki heard Chi Ya's words, his face was slightly angry, and he said coldly to Chi Ya. Regarding the death of Brigade Number 8, she didn't feel any sadness, and was even very happy. But even so, Brigade Number 8 is also a member of their brigade. Now Chi Ya, the chief culprit, actually said that he didn't want to conflict with the brigade. What a joke, do you think they are fools? Believe it or not, that guy is the target of the mission, that's all. Faced with Maki's anger, Chi Ya didn't care. His expression was as usual, and he was still very indifferent, facing the brigade without the slightest timidity. Why are you talking so much nonsense to him? Looking at the conversation between the two, Phaeton couldn't stand it any longer, stood up, put his hands in his pockets, and walked slowly towards Chi Ya. A powerful killing intent instantly overwhelmed him, and two. As soon as the voice fell, Phaeton's figure disappeared instantly. As long as you are an enemy of the brigade, kill it. What? In just a short moment, Phaeton's figure appeared in front of Chi Ya, holding an umbrella sword in his hand, and said indifferently, the umbrella sword in his hand raised high towards Chi Ya. Swish. With a slight sound, Phaeton's body appeared in front of Chi Ya. The speed was so fast that everyone could hardly see it. Phaeton is the fastest member of Phantom Troop. However, his speed is fast, and Chi Ya's speed is even faster than him. As soon as Phaeton disappeared, Chi Ya had already seen through this guy's tracks. The moment Phaeton appeared, Chi Ya's sharp fingers, like the tip of a knife, slashed across Phaeton's forehead with a terrifying thunder crackling. Seeing this, Phaeton, who had just appeared and was about to attack Chi Ya with harsh words, suddenly shrank his pupils. The next moment, he reacted quickly before finishing his sentence, and disappeared in an instant. Laugh. There was a tearing sound, a piece of broken cloth slowly fell in the air, and a blood flower bloomed in the air. Immediately afterwards, Phaeton's figure appeared in front of everyone in the brigade again. It's just that, this time, his appearance is a bit embarrassed. No, it should be said that Phaeton has been injured. The well-fitting windbreaker was torn open, and a bright red wound on the collarbone continuously flowed out bright blood, dyeing the black windbreaker black and red. Seeing Phaeton's appearance, everyone in the welcome group was moved. So fast. Phaeton, who was the fastest in the brigade, was actually counter-killed. This guy's speed is so fast. Compared to speed, I've never been afraid of anyone. Looking at the shocked expressions of everyone in the brigade, Chi Ya smiled faintly and said, his tone was full of confidence, arrogance and a touch of sarcasm. Although he fought Uvijin very well in terms of speed before, he crushed Uvijin in terms of speed the moment he turned on the super speed, and severely injured Uvijin at the moment when Uvijin was stunned. Turn on the super speed. Chi Ya's speed has increased by countless times. Even Phaeton, the fastest guy in the brigade, Chi Ya has that strength. Isn't it a trick to attack in front of Chi Ya who has turned on the speed? It's useless, but once you have your hands. Being injured, Phaeton didn't care at all, with a sneer on his face and scarlet eyes flickering constantly. Holding the windbreaker with one hand, he tore the windbreaker into pieces. Phaeton held the umbrella sword and walked towards Chi-Ya slowly. He has already decided that he must screw off Chi-Ya's head with his own hands, and let him apologize for his arrogance. Seeing this, the others knew that Phaeton was angry, but they didn't speak. Phaeton. Let's shoot together, this guy's speed is too fast, you can't keep up with it at all, and his enhancer's nen is comparable to Uvijin. On the contrary, it was Frank who had seen Chi-Ya's strength before Lin felt something was wrong, so he tried to persuade him. He saw Chi-Ya use enhancer nen to match Uvijin with his own eyes. Later, after using nen of other systems, that is, after the speed, Uvijin was hit hard with one move. Although Phaeton is one of the best in the brigade, but he has a premonition that Phaeton can't beat Chi-Ya. However, Phaeton completely ignored Franklin's kindness, as if he didn't hear it at all, and continued to walk forward. Okay. Phelan, have you ever seen Phaeton listen to advice like this? Nobunaga on the side yawned lazily and said casually. In my opinion, let's leave this place as soon as possible, given the current situation of Phaeton. Maybe that thing will be released later. Immediately afterwards, Nobunaga suggested to the brigade members. Indeed, let's go, stay away from here. Crollo took a deep look at Chi-Ya, and then signaled aloud. Let's go. Let's go. I don't want to be hurt by Phaeton's attack, that thing is not for human beings. Finks said fearfully. After he joined the brigade, he was in the same group as Phaeton. Because he didn't know Phaeton well, he was not too far away when Phaeton used his unique skills to fight the enemy. That time he almost died on the spot. As for Phaeton's trick, he now has a shadow, and he doesn't want to do it again. Indeed, I don't dare to accept the power of Phaeton's move. Hurry up and stay away from here. If Phaeton releases that move later, we won't be affected. Shalnark also thought of Phaeton's unique move. The corners of the mouth twitched unavoidably on that calm face, and said embarrassingly. Several other people also nodded, and even Uvijin had no objection. If it was not injured, Uvijin would not have agreed so much, and he didn't even have to talk about the fact that Phaeton robbed his opponent. However, he was injured now, and he was still severely injured, so he didn't stubbornly want to stay here. With his current injury, if you stay here, once you run into Phaeton's trick, you will definitely be at risk of falling. Seeing this, Franklin shook his head helplessly, but didn't say anything more. Everyone in the brigade had no objection, they reached a consensus, and they all walked quickly behind, leaving Phaeton here. As for Chi-Ya, who was still waiting for the response from the brigade, but seeing this scene and the reaction of the brigade, she was slightly surprised and muttered inwardly. What's up with these guys? Why did he leave suddenly and leave Phaeton behind? However, at the moment when he muttered about Phaeton, Chi-Ya suddenly remembered something, and understood why everyone in the brigade behaved in such a strange way. Phaeton, after getting angry, will release a small sun, blazing sun, regardless of the enemy or himself. After this small sun erupts, it will burn everything around it, even using Nen defenses will not help. In the original book, during the Chimera Ant chapter, Queen Shakan, the head of the division who invaded Meteor Street, died of Phaeton's trick. Reminiscent of how this guy would talk nonsense and talk ironically when he was angry, Chi-Ya had a guess in his heart that this guy was probably on the verge of breaking out. When Chi-Ya was recalling the episode in his memory, Phaeton, who was walking slowly, saw Chi-Ya's absent-minded appearance, his eyes flashed suddenly, his figure flashed quickly, and he attacked Chi-Ya. Boom.